Hello.
Am I?
How are we doing
I thought
tonight?
you fixed it that
It's
quick.
a wonderful Memorial Day weekend, Sunday night or Monday morning, wherever you are.
Right? It's actually Memorial Day here.
So I'm really excited about tonight, but let's start with the person who hasn't gotten a lot of FaceTime lately. Let's start over there with Anna.
Right?
What are you looking forward to tonight?
Getting out of the bottle. Right? Getting out of the bottle, man.
Some people get lost in the bottle, and it turns out we're trying to get Anna out of the bottle. Sorry for that delay with my sound, everybody. We added a new microphone, which you can see here. Boop, boop, boop. We added a HyperX. And we've been using it on the other streams, but I forgot that I had to do it on this stream, and so I had to add it really quick. Hey, welcome back to Plot Points, our place where we bring some of the greatest players on the internet together. Some of them get trapped in bottles for a few weeks on end. But, you know, we're going to work on starting off and getting her out of that bottle tonight so that she can be with us at least for this night. We're glad to have you all here with us tonight. Thank you for tuning in to Plot Points. We're looking forward to having a great show with you. I'm going to start off by letting everybody say hello, and then we're going to kick the game off. You just heard from Anna, but we'll let her actually, rather than just tell us what she's looking forward to, let her say hello, say who she's playing and whatnot to refresh her memory in case you missed her. And then when you're done, Anna, just kick it off to the next person.
Right. So, yes, I am Anna Valerious, and I'm a ranger with this little itty bitty level 1 of wizard because, you know, character creation and all that. And I've been stuck in a bottle because, you know, I got myself in real life a new job. And so now I work on for us, it's Monday when we shoot the game. So, you know, about once a month, I get a Monday off, though, like Memorial Day. So I'll get to come in and we're going to have to figure out how to get me out of the bottle. Ooh. And of course, I'm stuck in the bottle, all thanks to Verdic. So we'll pass it off to Verdic.
I have to unmute myself now. All right. I thought I got away from it, giving it to you first.
Uh-huh.
I'm just looking forward to getting some really good deep role play tonight. That's kind of my hope is with having most of the ensemble here. We're still down Eric, but I'm looking forward to getting a lot of that out so that we can kind of see some ups, downs, consequences, and maybe even some positives out of the experience and kind of give the characters new motivation and just keep pressing forward. So that's what I'm looking forward to. But as everybody knows at Plot Points, it never works out exactly according to plan. So I'm also looking forward to that because even when it's bad, it's fun. So Brock, why don't you tell us what you're looking forward to?
Just being up and doing something, you know, this evening. I've been down all week coming out of surgery, so just recovering and everything. So I was definitely looking forward to getting up and doing this evening. So I'm going to do my best to struggle through and put on the best show that I can. And I hope you all enjoy. And if I lack a little bit tonight, please have a little compassion for me. Go ahead, Mike.
Gosh. I'm Mike, or Den of Wolves in this game, or so known as Oreo X Wolf. I'm just excited to play D&D. I'm ready to role play with these guys, and it's one of my favorite parts of the week. So let's get this started. And Sean's muted.
Sean, you're muted.
And Valerious, I just pulled a Verdic. That's what I'm going to call that. I actually, one of the things I bought this microphone for, I am not muted. I am not muted. What are you talking about?
Coming through.
It's
now.
going out. Yeah.
Yeah, you're good now.
How do I know I'm not muted? This is actually one of the reasons I bought this microphone. If you see that on screen, you see it's all lit up. Touch the bottom and it turns on.
Nice.
Touch the bottom and it turns off. So I know it. And one of the reasons we did that was to put it on the screen for our viewers. Rather than having to click on OBS and whatnot, it just made life a whole lot simpler. So, yeah, fun things like that. And I don't even have to flip a switch or anything. It's literally just touch it like a touch lamp. So, pretty cool. Eric is not here with us tonight. So we have Anna Valerious sitting in. Eric sends his apologies. It was a last minute thing. Work kind of took over. So we wish Eric the very best. But in the meantime, we're going to have a great time. Now, we talked about walking around and whatnot. We have something new for our viewers. One of the things you get to pay for tonight is helping Brock out. See, Brock, as he just said, is getting out of surgery. So he's got to get up and walk about a little bit. So whenever you spend that $7.50, and it is limited to a 45-minute basis, we can get him to stand up, walk about, and go outside or to the kitchen or whatever and walk around a little bit before he comes back. So just to help him out because, hey, we're all family here at this table. We are planning to run a little long tonight, so we will not be stopping at the usual 2-hour mark unless they do something amazing. They just all say, hey, we want to cut it. But otherwise, we are planning to go a little long for our viewers. That'll let you know what's happening. That being said, we started around a campfire, a very familiar scene where these individuals in the future are talking to one another and remembering this time of just getting out of heaven. In fact, somebody had just cracked a joke. Which one of you was that? Because I know it wasn't Robin.
It was definitely Verdic.
Verdic the Paladin making jokes as he thinks back on his time in heaven.
If Robin heard a joke, he could repeat it.
Yeah, come and slap him. The good old jokesters.
Old jokesters. You all think everything I say is a joke. It's my age, isn't it?
Sure, we'll go with that.
You're younger than I am.
Says the elf.
How many more times are you going to remind me of that tonight?
Every time she gets a chance.
Literally never stops.
Well, I guess that's the least I deserve, so I can't complain too much as Verdic rattles around his 10 coffee mug.
But at least she's with us, says the Arakocra.
It took you long enough to figure out how to get me out of that bottle, even if it was only for a little bit here and there.
Yeah. He's very sad. He's like, I'm having a great time. I'm the one laughing, but it's like Verdic's like very like he's a wet blanket about this whole thing.
I can't even just looks like a schoolhouse insult just got thrown.
He just looks like he doesn't sleep much, and he's nursing that 10 cup of coffee, and he's just he's just kind of sitting there and just.
Robin chimes in with this. Wishing Anna was here, which was a phrase that had been quite often used over the time that Anna was relegated inside the bottle. They hadn't quite started using it yet, but that lets us know that it's going on for a little bit longer. And it's as Robin says this that we will transition back to when they were finally figuring out how to get her out of that bottle. We cut to the scene where at the circus, it's all packing up, getting ready to leave because things in heaven didn't quite go as heavenly as was expected. The main part of the circus had been coming back down from this floating city above. The ships coming in, the lost, and people coming off. The party, which were considering going up to heaven to rescue Blaze and Arimathea, had just been given the boots of Arimathea and talked about this whole, there needs to be a new Arimathea in the circus. In fact, many of these individuals had learned quite a bit about the circus recently since coming back down from heaven. They were debating on this war plan to get back in there to rescue Blaze the Dragonborn when they saw Blaze approaching from one of the ships. Let's cut into that scene right now. Blaze walking up on the party. I believe they'd already actually encountered, but we'll go back just a couple minutes. I think there was some hugging involved and whatnot, which our viewers might want to start with. Blaze, you're coming up on the others.
Knowing that they probably didn't expect me coming back anytime soon, and they feared the worst from the get-go and didn't want me to have an audience with the Emperor, I just kind of saunter back up that way with a little bit of an attitude, like, yeah, what's up?
No hat though.
So everything's cleared up now? You're all good?
I'm here, aren't I?
Verdic's gonna stand up back and cross his arms and kind of look at him with a perplexed look and be like, well, we were pretty sure we were gonna have to come back up there.
You didn't have to, but Den of Wolves, you and I need to have a chat after a bit.
All right.
Verdic just like raises one eyebrow.
Is there one of the boats is around? Is there a way we can go up on one of the boats and take a look at some of these things that they're taking up to heaven?
Well, you just rode one of the boats down, and there's actually numerous platforms that are built to go back and forth, these floating magical ships. And yes, absolutely, you can go and look over some of the things that are being brought from heaven and whatnot. You'll have to convince the rest of the party whether or not they want to go with you and whatnot and do it that way. But yeah, absolutely.
I just mentioned that I've noticed some items going up towards heaven. I'd like to take a look and see if there's anything we might be able to use.
Okay.
Well, currently the things are coming down from heaven. These are all the ships bringing down the circus and whatnot. You guys were told to get out of town quickly, so there's not shipments going back up. But as you start going over to ask about, is anybody going to be bringing anything back up, some of the individuals are pretty cold and whatnot. Brock, you have advantage on the first roll of the night, which is perception, because you just came from heaven and have a little bit of knowledge that these guys don't. Knowledge which you've been told not to share.
And so you want me to roll perception?
Please. $14. As you're on the ship and you're seeing some of the gear pulled off for the, 14 was high enough. That's why I just started going. As you're seeing some of the gear pulled off, you notice a figure dart in the shadows behind it. And you're certain that what you saw was a goblin.
I want to casually head that way and try to see what the issue is there. Why he's hiding. What's going on?
So these other, obviously your group sees you walk off. Is anybody going with you?
Well, actually, I kind of motion towards the others and be like, nod in that direction and then start walking that way.
So are you guys going as a big team or what?
Yeah, I'm definitely following him.
Verdict's going to follow.
Something seems to be up.
Okay. Anna, you don't get a choice because you're stuck in a bottle. So you guys head over there, and there's this goblin who's cowering behind a crate, and he's not dressed shabbily at all. This goblin is actually dressed really fine, and he has a short sword at his side. And he growls as Blaze, you come into view. He can't see the others yet, who are kind of casually walking behind you and whatnot. And he growls at you and puts his hand on his sword as if ready to draw it and says, "Stay back. I have no quarrel with you."
Then move out of my way and there will be no quarrel.
And with that, the goblin darts away behind the boxes to go get away from you.
Do goblins normally hang out around places like this?
Now, hold on a second. I missed it. I missed that because I was trying to catch a conversation there.
No, that's okay.
That was the goblin that approached me.
Yeah.
No, you approached the goblin,
Oh, yeah,
and then the
yeah,
goblin
you
just
came up with
spoke.
that one. Yeah.
My bad. I didn't catch that. No, I would address him to find out what's going on.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I was kind of confused there myself. I was like, wow, so you approach him and then you tell him to go away. I'm like, okay, so
Yeah,
really
I caught the back end. I thought it
Yep.
was like a guard on the ship because I was trying to catch something up top. That's why I
happens
said
to me
my
all
bad.
the time, brother. All right, so yeah, we'll retcon that a little bit. So
Purpose is to talk to him and find out what's going on.
yeah, so he's got his hand on his sword. He's very guarded about who you are, what you want, and he's like, I have no quarrel with you.
And I also have no quarrel. Why are you sneaking about?
He's like, I'm leaving. He's like, and if you
No
try to
one-
stop me, he goes, there'll be blood.
Why would you want to leave? Aren't you in service to the Emperor?
He snarls when you say that. He says, I don't serve abominations, goblins. And then he sees the rest of you and he says, goblins have a right and a place that aren't welcome here among these human lands.
Where are you trying to get to?
Says, none of your business.
Well, perhaps we can help you with that, and you could help us in a manner.
I've already helped you. What? You thought his head just exploded on its own? And of course, you guys are all hearing this for the first time. Anna, for the sake of argument, you can hear this conversation going on from inside the sack because the sack hanging at Verdic's side is near to the same height level, even though you're a person back. Because I'm just basically kind of in my mind, I got Blaze there, I got Verdic, and Verdic's got the sack at his side, so you're
it's
within
just
range.
A satchel. It's just that. It's got that flap over it. That's it.
Okay. So, somewhat
I asked
muffled,
to
but you can hear.
elaborate on that.
Says, clearly, you didn't think that one of the Emperor's chosen individuals would be so weak and open to magical attacks. You did? And he looks at you, he goes, my God, these creations of the Emperor are so thick.
I am not a creation of the Emperor.
Oh, that's right. You have, what, a little bit longer snout, some pointy teeth. And as he says it, he smiles, showing his own pointy teeth. And he goes, just because you're big and you have scales doesn't make you anything special. What, you escaped?
I've never claimed to be special. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on, what the backstory is here. Trying to get some more information. And I think you might be in a position to help me out, and I would be willing to compensate you for that.
At that point, he's incredibly insulted, spits on the ground, and he goes, what, you think I'm one of those ones rooting around in garbage for money? At this point, the conversation and the fact that you're all bulked up at the back of the ship and other people are carrying stuff off of the ship has taken the notice of some of the people moving it, wondering why you're all just standing there staring behind a box. You've brought attention, and others are moving in, what's going on over here, and they can hear the conversation happening. As they do so, the last box is removed and the goblin is exposed, at which point others start to, oh my gosh, hey, there's somebody on the ship. It's a goblin. And he starts running to get himself over the side of the ship quickly.
Is he within reach? I'd like to grab hold
You
of
can
him.
do an opportunity attack, or you can do whatever you would like.
Yeah, I want to grab hold of him.
Make a grapple check, and I will use his dexterity in opposition to you. Do you want me to use use DM disadvantage at this time?
That's up to you.
No, I actually left it on the players because earlier on they were like, so you got players get to decide. Nobody cares? Okay, then I will I will roll normally.
No.
Is that a strength check?
You are rolling athletics, so yeah, athletics is under strength. And you'll get your athletics bonus, and I will grab my dice and see what happens with our little goblin friend. See how his agility is. Normally it's just strength versus strength for a grapple, but he's trying to dodge yours altogether, and I'm just seeing who's higher. Your hands shoot out, but this little guy is quick. He scoots away, your fingers just missing him, and sprints across the deck, grabs onto the side, and literally you notice something. He's incredibly agile. He goes up the side and flips over it. Right side. And you guys are probably about 15 feet in the air. So you're like, dude, you're going to break a leg, you little bugger.
As he's jumping to go over, I want to pull out my whip and try to snatch him up with the whip.
Okay, you already used your reaction to try and do this, but as he's flipping through the air, go ahead and make an attack roll. I'll just raise the DC pretty high because I think it's a really cool effect.
Plot points.
Nope, I did something wrong there.
Yeah, you rolled damage. But I liked it
okay.
too. We can just use that if you would like. That would be even funnier.
All right, let's try that one.
There you go. A 12. You whip it out, and this guy, again, so quick, it goes right over his head as he flips down, jumps over the side, and gets away from you. You guys have seen this happen. In the meantime, the others that have come and seen this are now, they're shouting out, and the last thing you guys see is this goblin starting to boot it through people. He has not broken his leg when he's hit the ground. He's landed well, rolled, gotten up and started sprinting, and others are yelling. He sheathed his sword. It doesn't seem like he's attacking anybody, and clearly he's just kind of running full tilt to get out from this undercity which floats beneath heaven and heading towards the coast and the dock area.
So, Blaze, what's going on here?
And
he's
Griffin
got
takes flight.
He's got information that we could use. That's why I was trying to snatch him up.
Is he
Information-
out of range now? Like completely?
Information that I can't
No
give
one's
you.
out of my range.
Yeah.
How far away is this guy now?
Well, he's gone off amongst the people. You guys, if you move to the edge of the ship, you would see some of what I was talking about where he's kind of scooting away.
I was confirming that we're supposed to be trying to stop him. So, I mean, I'll take off after him.
Yeah, vertical pursuit as well. We'll start running through.
I can move 60. I can move very far, 180.
Whew. Literally.
I use
Do you want to
all
go in a
three-
straight line over the side of the ship? And how far can you jump down? Can you roll? Can you handle a 15-foot drop?
Probably. I mean, I'd hope so. I'm pretty dexterous.
Okay. Well, I mean, 10 foot is fall damage. That's why I'm asking,
Yeah. Yeah. I just was sarcastically speaking about
make a dex.
like my character thinking about a goblin outdoing him.
Well, yeah. Doesn't mean he's got the same abilities as you. Acrobatics. Go for it.
16.
Hey, I like it. You roll, you break. Again, normally D&D rules are damage, but we're not going to do any damage. You do just fine. You roll, you get up, you sprint, and you take off, leaping around people left and right. I do need you to make a... Don't know if I want it to be perception or not. Make a survival check. See if you can figure out where the goblin was dodging to, since, of course, he's getting out of sight amongst people. So it's not just a question of distance, it's a question of tracking him.
It's pretty terrible.
So you haul butt, and you're like dodging around all these people, and you've outrun the goblin. You're like, there is no freaking way a goblin should be this quick. You should have come across him, and you're like moving and looking around people and dancing around all them. But the goblin, maybe he made a right, maybe he made a left, turned off. Clearly, he has not outrun you, but outsmarted the cat.
Yeah, that's not hard to do.
So you guys are all waiting up top, and how tall is Den of Wolves?
I wrote it down somewhere. I think he's only like 5'6" or 5'8".
Okay, so he doesn't necessarily blend in. Obviously, you're a cat, but we already talked about there's other Tabaxi in the circus, and some of them are moving and unloading these boats. So whether or not you guys choose to keep an eye on him over the side of the ship or not, a little bit later you'll find Den of Wolves coming back empty-handed.
Well, Verdic had gone with him.
Okay, make an acrobatics roll.
Yep.
I'm guessing he jumped off the side of the ship with you. So.
Watch me break a leg. Here we go.
Nope, you do fantastically.
Hey!
You rolled up, and you had seen him sprint ahead of you, clearly outdistancing you.
Yeah, my speed's only 30, so.
Leaving Blaze behind. Again, Griffin had gone to the sky. And go ahead and make a survival check as well.
Yes.
Does he have eyes on him from the sky?
You have no idea. I have considered that, though, and I know why you're asking me to help me. Thank you. And again, when Den of Wolves is coming back, you bump into Verdic, who appears to be looking for him the same as you.
This is probably a mistake. Let's do it anyway. Can I summon Slappy to help us look for this goblin?
You can absolutely try. I mean, it seems like Sumina said that you have the ability to summon and banish and that he's your familiar now.
I'm going to attempt to summon Slappy with the directive of help me find this little git, and I will let you hang out for a while.
And Slappy, who had been laughing this entire time in your head, at your frustration about missing this goblin, literally you say the words, I'll summon you, under this agreement to help out. And you feel that familiar pain in your ear. And as you do, you hear Slappy yelling. And Den of Wolves, you're actually approaching Verdic as he's kind of holding his ear. And there's like this black thing coming into his hand. And you see mist shoot out of the side. The bag opens up. And this mist comes whipping out. And leaping out of the bag, growing larger in instants, jumps out Anna Valerious. And into his hand jumps Slappy, who sees Anna and immediately starts cursing at her, yelling at her, using profanity, saying that she stole his body, that you ruined my plans. And his little wooden jaw is opening and closing, and you hear the sounds of spitting sounds, but he's got no lips to spit. So it's just like this, as the jaw chatters back and forth at him, and he's literally saying, I spit at you, you vile thing, give me back my body, you bitch.
In response, Veric's going to take him and just throw him on the ground and go find that goblin.
Go find the goblin, yes. And he tries to spit on the ground again, and then turns around and runs off.
Now,
I'm going to look over at Anna like, oh, God.
Blaze is going to head down off the boat and towards the rest of the group.
All right, Blaze, you come down, and you've seen from your top thing Anna appear and come down, which has caused, people like backed away as he was doing all this. They were like, oh my God, what the heck's happening with his ear and stuff?
Say Slappy's pretty lucky that, one, I'm not sure I can kill him, and two, I'm not sure what would happen if I could kill him. So
Verdic's just going to get down on one knee in front of Anna and bow his head down.
oh my God, he's proposing.
Nope.
The old man is going to get married.
Guilty in apology. That's what that is.
Oh my.
Tonight's session will be a wedding. Strahd is getting married.
Take the AC bonus. He's always with
For
you.
being married?
Out of context, sirs.
the magic around this bottle and that puppet is just,
Huh.
I don't know enough magic.
Okay, we need to go find someplace to sit. Because my head's about to explode with all this information. And lack thereof. There's too much info and not enough all at the same time. It's way too confusing.
We can head back down to the docks. We know we got a place on the boat that we can get away from everyone.
Okay.
You guys agree to do this down at the docks and whatnot. And of course, Anna, you're like, well, we're leaving the circus and whatnot. You have no idea what has happened. Your last thing, your last knowledge point, other than people tapping on the glass to you, was up there, up top.
Yeah, don't let that kid tap the glass, man.
Oh,
It's awfully loud in there.
Don't forget, case in point, Sean, that Verdic had been communicating to her every time he had a chance to speak to her alone. He was talking to her.
Okay.
So she might have some bits and pieces.
Yeah, I have a little bit of what's going on, just not the whole picture.
Yeah, welcome to the club.
Well, I think pretty much the only thing that you guys, from being up there when she first got sucked into the bottle, we've only had one night where you were escaping. It's not like you've had nights where you could sit with her and talk or anything else. Literally, you fought your way out from the thing at night, riding the chute, doing all this in darkness. So, and then I think you finally got a rest. Yeah, you finally got a rest in the circus now that you were back.
And
You
I
are
must say,
well
it's
rested.
a good thing that I have my own kind of whatever system in that bottle, because otherwise I would have been like and I wasn't. So this bottle is really weird.
It has
Verdic's gonna finally stand up on his feet. He's gonna get up. And he's just gonna look at her and be like, I'm glad that you're at least in one piece.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the others are very
Phenomenal
worried about you.
cosmic powers.
The others are very
Living
worried about
space.
you. We should go talk to them.
It's
Yeah.
probably a good idea.
So we'll go join them.
The others who are already leaving and whatnot, heading down to the boat, you catch up to them fairly quickly, fairly easily. It takes about, I don't know, maybe a half hour. Various individuals who, some of them look at you and whatnot. Blaze, I would like you to make a perception roll, please. Or just see in case you get something high.
That high enough?
It certainly is. You do notice your familiar hat on the top of Jame's head out in the city as you guys are walking down the docks. He's wearing it, and he has a young girl nearby him who you're not familiar with.
I kind of saunter over in that direction. Kind of come up behind him and like reach down and pluck the hat off of his head. And say,
Hey, he
what's
turns
going
around.
on,
What are you
kiddo?"
doing? Oh my gosh, it's you. And he says, why are you taking my hat?
Well, it was only a temporary loaner.
Yeah, you were supposed to go in and get my toy.
Well, I wasn't able to locate your toy.
So why are you taking my hat?
Like I said, it was a temporary loaner.
Until you get my toy.
Well, those weren't the
Are
terms of the deal.
behind him now.
That's what you said. Now, of course, Verdic and Den can see that he's holding this teddy bear in his hand on the ground. You know, it's like partially dragging on the ground.
As like I say, I slowly start coming up behind him now. Like behind Blaze. Just looking at John like, come on, kid.
John May looks over at Den and goes, oh, hi. Yeah, these guys did it for you, so I guess you can take the hat and whatnot. He goes, I got him back. This is what, yeah, they did a good job. Thank you.
I take and I flip him a gold coin and place the hat back on my head.
This kid's getting money
Rich.
from us.
Yep, the
Telling-
kid
telling-
tries to grab the gold
Get up,
coin.
kiddo.
And you also catch the eye from some others nearby who look seeing a kid with a gold coin like, the heck, why is a kid getting gold? I mean, copper, silver, steel, things like that, but a Galifar flying through the air? Oh my gosh. But he's quick, man. He gets it. He's not stupid. He grabs it off the ground and they go
It's a
taking
good
off.
hat sitter.
I just snarl at anyone looking at him funny.
And the girl that he's like trying to pull along with him is pointing back at Anna Valerious like, hey, but I didn't get a chance to be, he drags her off and whatnot.
Take my hat, place it back up on my head, and
Fits like a glove.
continue walking on.
A little bit later, you come to the ship and are greeted at the up ramp. Verdic, I would like you to make a perception roll next. And Den too, actually. Den would be good with this one too. That's persuasion. It's the other key.
Close enough.
Right.
You notice, Den of Wolves, that you have been being watched by an individual who is literally not trying to hide in the slightest, but he's across from the ship, and just his pose has been watching all the individuals going back and forth. You notice it because on the way from the ship initially, you almost bumped into this samurai who was watching everybody. He's a human samurai, and he seems to be doing that same thing as before, sullenly or somberly watching over everything as you come up the ship. He takes special note watching your group and your party come up the ship. You're not sure to who, but to one of you, he briefly nods his head. The others don't seem to have taken notice. Perhaps it was you. You can't be sure. You can talk now. You're no longer in the bottle.
Just taking out.
You get up on deck and immediately are met by the ship's owner, as well as some of the crew that you became familiar with on the way down here. They welcome you back. Yo, hey, look, they call to the captain. The captain comes over, and there's both the captain as well as the woman that you released from the city in your earliest adventures together.
Yeah, I was gonna say which owner, the female one, the male one.
Yeah, exactly. Now he's catching on. That's it. So, you get here and you find that Griffin was already up in the things, and he lands on the deck and immediately says, he goes, "Where's Robin?"
I don't know. Where'd you leave him?
He's like, "With all of you back at the circus. You didn't leave Robin." Ah! And then he jumps off the edge of the ship and goes back and goes, "I got to get Robin."
Have fun with that.
Oh,
He's gone again.
poor Robin.
We're either killing him or leaving him.
I call over. Shoot, I don't have my notes open. No, that doesn't
And
help.
Brock, you have a special welcome going on in the chat from Chris. So he just wants you to know that he's saying a big hello to you.
Verdic's looking at Data Wolves as he's like, go have fun with that. And Verdic's like, you're not worried about him at all?
No, not at all.
Quite the crowd you all have here.
Mars asks who this is.
I look at Anna.
Who is?
Points at Verdic. This guy on my ship, he says.
I forgot he wasn't with us then. Oh,
It's good to know some friendships last forever.
Right.
Transcend time. It's fine.
This is a longtime friend of mine. I've known him since he was, kind of a wee lad almost. Not quite that young, but And yeah, he found us again. So, I'm like, he just, it's been interesting.
I owe her my life. Thank you for letting us aboard your ship.
He looks at you and
Mars,
says, "I haven't said you're welcome aboard my ship yet." And he looks to the
Mars.
rest of you and goes, "I believe we have private business to discuss."
Yeah, I believe that, and I believe we have business with him too. Unfortunately, I'll try to explain, and they'll explain better, hopefully after. But let's go down and talk.
He motions to two of his men who come over, and I don't know, Verdic, if in your history as a paladin you've ever seen firearms before, but these guys carry rifles that are made, long muskets and whatnot, so they're on top of their short swords. And they come over and make it very clear that you can stay right there, right near the gangplank to get on and off of the ship, unless you would choose to push past them or anything else. I don't want to.
Verdic's going to furtively place his hands in his pockets.
Oh, not on your new sword?
And just not on the sword, no. But I'm gonna inside the pocket. My left hand's gonna wrap around that pen.
Okay.
And as a fellow wife, I bought a walkabout, so
Oh, walkabout! First walkabout of the night. Blaze, we'll see you soon. You go off and have a nice little walkabout and let us know what you find.
While I'm walking about, I'm going to let it be known that we're going to dismiss with these formalities. Verdict's going to come down with us because we've got stuff to discuss. And if we need to have a resurgence of the event that happened when we first come on board, then so be it. But I'm done messing around.
Okay, so we will be rolling into initiative.
Oh my.
Very quickly here. As Blaze lays down the law, you're walking along, you're trying to get there, and Blaze says, "No, Verdict's coming with us." And Mars says, "No, you are not the captain of this ship, and our information that we have to discuss is private. Do Den of Wolves or Anna Valerious want to chime in on this?
Yeah. I can keep our conversation private, so he can't hear it, but I don't know the full details of everything, but I know he needs to stay with us and preferably safe due to possibly Anna's safety.
He looks incredibly confused about
Verdic
safe
kind
and
of
safety.
needs to stay near me at this point.
So
I also look confused with Mars as I'm giving the information.
So I'm going to attempt to do this. Let's see how this goes. I would like to cast Calm Emotions.
Okay. On
And
who?
I'm just gonna be like,
or on the entire area, or what?
just on the crew, yeah. Just
Yeah.
the people in front of me as they're getting aggressive, and I'm just gonna be like, peace, friends. I mean no harm. Please, surely we can arrange a better way to have a private conversation than splitting up our group.
Okay, so you're trying to cast it on, and what is the range on that? Is it one person? Is it hit
60
dice?
feet range or area. No, 60 feet range, 20-foot area.
And what's the saving throw?
Choose is charisma.
Okay, and what am I rolling against?
That's a save. That's my save. I don't want to do that. You're rolling against my charisma, I think, right?
DC.
Plus
If you click on spells, they'll be at the top. Should be.
Casting time. Attack save 12.
Okay. Saving throw level is 12. You cast your spell, which is verbal and semantic. So they see your hands moving, and you kind of do the Jedi mind trick, telling them peace, friends, and whatnot.
Okay.
That's it. You know, it's all good, friends. You know, we're all friends here. I'm guessing Mike's having trouble with his camera at the moment. I think you calmed him and he fell
went
asleep.
on his own walkabout.
Or he just fell asleep. He's like, I'm so calm, I need a nap. The crew seems to respond well. Nobody's drawn a weapon against you. But it's your friends that were getting upset, like Blaze, who needs to make his own saving throw to determine whether or not your calm emotion affects him as he gets agitated.
Yay.
What is it? Charisma?
Yeah.
All right, here it comes.
It doesn't mean you have to do what he says if you fail it, but you make the save anyway, so you're unaffected. So even though he's telling everybody to be calm and whatnot, the only one that really appears agitated is Blaze and the captain asserting himself, saying no. Den of Wolves, while you were on walkabout, Brock, Den of Wolves said, look, I can keep the conversation private, and I'm going to let Den of Wolves make a persuasion roll, because rather than just have the captain say, no, I'll give you a chance. He's not real keen on this one. Having other people try to say what to do on his ship. Yeah, and he seems unaffected by it. He says no. He goes, he can wait till we talk. And then he goes, I'll determine whether or not he can even remain on the ship. He goes, I have no problem with your friends, but you have a different purpose. And besides, he goes, where'd the bloody Birdman go? He looks around for Griffin.
He went to look for his little bird friend.
He goes, that Kenku's going to get you all killed eventually. He goes, I told you don't need him.
I agree
Hi.
again.
Hey, Anna, did you come out of the bottle with anything that you were petting or no? I don't remember if you were going to or not.
Yeah, I don't remember what we decided on that one either.
It was your choice because it's
okay.
available in there. We said that.
Right. No, because this time it was a surprise that I got pulled out. So no.
Okay. Okay, doke. All right, I had to fix the chat window real quick. Sorry about that. We were cutting off some of the stuff that others needed to see. Okay, so having failed the roll and whatnot, Blaze, how do you want to respond?
I explained to the captain that our patterns are weaved together, that our mission is intertwined with his mission.
Are you
And-
putting your foot down like before and just demanding that it's your way?
It doesn't have to be my way. I can turn around and go off the ship.
Okay, make a I don't know if that's so much persuasion as intimidation.
Can I attempt to assist him with this?
How so? What are you trying to do?
Help convince him that this is the best course of action for everybody's safety, for me to stay with the group and Anna especially, because we don't know what's going to happen if she's too far separated from me yet. So I would also like to, if I can assist him in that role, I'd also like to channel divinity and try to be an emissary of peace to keep this from becoming violent. Like I want to convince him that way.
So far, I don't think anybody's really become violent other than when Blaze put his foot down. But I
I
mean,
just want to get him to go our way. I'm just trying to persuade him as an emissary of peace.
so you want to describe that Anna's can't really go far from you and whatnot. As you describe this before you cast any spells and whatnot, well, I mean, if you want to cast a spell, we can do that. Do you want to cast a
It's
spell?
not a spell, it's just an ability. It's just channeling divinity.
Does it use a spell slot?
It does not seem to say so.
Okay, then good.
Gain two channel divinity options. Yeah,
Good.
no.
So yeah, you can more than, if you would like to use that, you go right ahead.
That's a bonus action. Cool. Yeah. Yee.
You channel divinity, attempt to become this emissary of peace to convince people to continue to walk
Can I-
peacefully.
Add my 5 points to that. I'll add my 5 plot points to that and attempt to
Sure
make
can.
this go quicker.
Sure can. Absolutely. Plot point.
Not rolling well tonight, but I'm trying to make it work.
You should have been with me the session right before this. I rolled 3s. I literally had advantage on a roll and rolled a 3 and a 3. It was horrible rolls all night. Horrible. Horrible. Not one good roll.
This is not good.
So, you end up working on him, telling him this is the best thing, and ultimately, begrudgingly, he is still kind of sort of against you when the witch shows up too, and your peaceful presence, your manner of being, the fact that you're all working together towards this. She tells him, we don't have to discuss anything that we don't want to. And besides, the one over there, and she points towards Den of Wolves, has already said that you can have this conversation without. She goes, I don't mind standing and watching to be, sure that things go well. And he's still not real keen on this. You can tell he's agitated. You'll probably have disadvantage on any type of persuasion rolls.
I think you need to flirt better.
But soon you're taken below decks, and you find yourself in the captain's cabin and quarters, which is very tight with all of you here. Probably would have been even tighter if you had the Birdman with you and the Kenku. But, you all squeeze in and whatnot. He puts his butt partially on a desk. She stands over near the windows at the back of the boat and whatnot. There are seats for 2 of you, and somebody will, 2, so that means 2 of you are going to have to stand.
I'll stand in the back.
Okay.
Vertical stand
take a
behind
seat.
Anna, kind of almost protectively, just kind of.
And
I
as
definitely
you-
take a seat.
Okay. So Den sits down and whatnot. And Anna, are you taking a seat?
Sure.
There you go. Anna sits comfortably. And Den, do you want to do anything?
Yeah, I'm gonna establish a psychic link between me, Mars, and Blaze.
Okay. Not Anna?
I can't. I can
Oh,
only
that's-
get 2 other people
Okay.
right now. So but I don't think Anna knows anything outside of what Blaze knows. So
Okay.
for now, I think it's gonna be okay.
You establish this link. Oh, wow. That's actually an issue. I hadn't thought of that.
Lasts for 2
And
hours.
well, you know what? You had announced it up top, so she would have already dropped it. Yeah, okay, never mind. Because I was about to say, wow, this is a struggle. This isn't going to work. But no. There's a momentary startle, and you find out that Mars is surprised by the fact that your link even worked on him. And you see him shoot a look over towards the witch, who just gives a little nod. And he says, your mission, successful or not? What did you find?
I'll inform him about what I found while I was in the search of the city, about just general weapon stuff. And immediately after, I'm just like, but they had a full-on conversation with the Emperor, so I think Blaze actually has much more than I do.
So Verdic and Anna, as you're watching, it's just like this dead silence as they're all looking at each other. And it's actually the witch who looks to Anna and says, sweetheart, is there anything that you'd like to drink?
Some nice wine would be good.
And she looks to Verdic and asks the same thing.
First, gonna politely put up his hand and say, "Alas, I must decline."
And she ends up taking, while the other three are talking, you see her fill in as the gracious hostess, engaging you in conversation, asking about Anna and Verdic's history and whatnot, how you met here and whatnot, distracting you from what's going on with the silence between Den and Blaze and Mars. Den, as you describe off both the ships, the training ground, the samurai underneath, what only vaguely, I would like you to make an Arcana roll for me, please, to see if you understood exactly what you saw or how you would describe it to him. You talk about what you think is an apothecary with these giant vats and whatnot, and the strangeness that there were armor in there as well, and weapons, and these grounds where you found individuals who looked like basically Blaze and being trained elsewhere. And Mars's response is that he doesn't think what you describe as an apothecary at all. He goes, usually that's very small amounts of fluid and whatnot, very measured out. He knows a little bit about it from his wife here, or his mistress. It's not his wife, it's his mistress here. So he hears all these things and he goes, yeah, they'll want to know all about this. He goes, this is good. This is good. He goes, right now Griffin's getting the Kenku, or he goes, I want to know how the heck Verdic fits in on this. He goes, and why is he standing near Anna, and why is he so protective, saying they can't be apart from one another?
Blaze, do you have more? I'll give what I have.
I can give the information that I know as far as Anna being stuck in the bottle from what Verdic has told us. As far as the rest, I explained to him that that's what we needed. The goblin that ran away.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we needed him for, because I have the information that they're looking for, but I can't discuss. I can't. Basically, I let them know that I'm not able to release it without damage coming along, but the goblin can.
He's like, wait, what do you mean you can't release it? He goes, this is your whole mission. This is everything you're about. Do you want to detail what it is? Why?
Do I know enough to whether I can, explain there was a binding, or?
You can try those words. I don't really, your character doesn't have a magical background. As a druid, you don't have an automatic, I understand wizardry and things like that, and curses. Not a real big part of the druid end. Maybe a curse, but bindings are something different. It's not something druids do.
Okay. Basically, I just tell him I can get you the information you need, but we've got to get that goblin.
Okay.
Go
ahead.
I'm not sure about that either, since he was there by himself, but I can go into further about Anna and Verdic. And I started explaining the whole circus madness with the bottle, how the bottle's made and to hold souls that are supposed to claim bodies, but somehow Anna end up inside this magic bottle, and the being inside the bottle end up inside a Verdic, and I don't know magic enough to explain how this all works, but that's all the information I gathered from it.
He then asks Blaze directly. He says, so what was this conversation with the Emperor? Because he hasn't put together yet. We were talking about the mission and stuff. And then Den of Wolves said, but he had a private conversation. So he doesn't quite make the connection that I think Blaze was already trying to make. He just says, so what happened with this conversation with the Emperor?
I'd love to be able to tell you exactly what took place there. Unfortunately, due to constraints, I cannot. Not without the goblin.
The goblin was there with you?
I believe I'd seen him while he was there.
Why would there even be servants? Well, I guess that would make some sense.
Wolf turns around and just stares at Blaze too in confusion.
Den of Wolves, I would like you to make a... It's not really perception. I want you to use intelligence as your base, so add that for your bonus. But we're perception. So if you have the skill in perception, you get that too. But use your base number off of your intelligence. So you might have to manually figure it out.
Probe?
Yeah, it's actually the same as my regular perception. So
okay.
Is he able to probe minds or just connect a psychic link?
No, that's it. I'm gonna stop there. So only a 6.
Okay. You look over at the others, let them all know, and the conversation goes on for a little bit, and the answer, Brock, to your thing is no, Den can't. All you can do is set up a communication network. At least at this point in his career. Later on, the guy might be a huge, tapping into your soul type thing. Mars receives everything that you're telling him and says, all right, very well. He goes, so we know that the Emperor's got numerous things going on, and he starts to question Den of Wolves more and more about the ship specifics. How long can you maintain this connection for, Den?
It's maintained for 2 hours.
Okay, so great. We got plenty of time.
Yeah.
Wine is brought to Anna. Interestingly enough, a drink is brought to Verdic anyway. And you've never seen her leave the room. When I say brought, like somebody knocks on the door, brings in this thing. There's wine. There's also a pitcher. There's some drink there for actually all of you and whatnot. So very interesting. A nice wedge of cheese and whatnot, as well as some bread you can rip apart and eat. The bread's a little bit stale for those that choose to eat it, and the cheese is probably not the finest in the world, but it is good. The elf or the half elf might have had better in her time. Mars seems particularly concerned with this relationship between Anna and Verdic. He says, I'm not hearing real answers. That he knows her, that he's with her. What you describe as you show up and she's suddenly in a bottle and now he's standing behind her as if she belongs to him. You tell me about this. What did you call it? An imp, a puppet, or a demon?
I would have called it a puppet.
This
I don't
puppet
really think of it as an imp.
That he uses. He goes, I'm very concerned with exactly how he is involved here.
That's why I thought it might be good to bring him down here anyway, so that we can now question him and her together, because I too am concerned about what's going on. As just like you, all I know is that she was in a bottle contained by him, supposedly by accident, and I just needed to make sure she was okay, so that's why I dragged him along.
Great. You're able to keep the mental connection going while you have a regular conversation as well. So Mars, who's familiar with this type of thing before, again, was more surprised that you were able to make the connection, not at somebody talking into his mind. Looks over towards Anna and Verdic, and this swashbuckling, heavyset, captain, really, kind of big-chested, nice thick legs and whatnot. Ruggedly handsome, let's use that term. Looks towards Anna and Verdic and says, I need to understand the complete nature, other than you met some time ago, why he is present with you. Help me understand. And you actually see the witch at one point make a calming motion to him as if to approach it gently.
So the first thing is that Verdic wouldn't touch the food or the wine, even though he was given a glass anyway. So mostly in the back of his mind, I can't really pantomime it, but like I think everyone can kind of assume there's a good reason why he won't touch the food. It's a bit of a dirty situation. So he's going to look over at Anna and be like, well, she's had less time to speak her mind in quite some time now. So I'd appreciate it if she got a chance to speak first.
Okay. So I try and give the short version about training him as a ranger and then, the things that happen there. And then, but like as short as possible. So it's still going to take a while probably. And then catching up to the future where he ended up finding us and how we all went up to heaven. And we found out, of course, about Slappy. And we all end up in heaven and Slappy gets out and he's causing problems. And going to stop Slappy and casting a spell. And the next thing I knew, I was in the bottle. And that's all I know. And the bottle's really nice. Not that I want to stay in it, but it's a really nice bottle.
Or just kind of looks at her like in surprise and like kind of just, of course you'd make this the most positive possible.
The witch asks if she can see the bottle, if she can examine it.
First going to look over at Anna and be like, I don't suppose things could get much worse at this point. And in his mind, he's muttering like a silent prayer. Gonna put his hand in the bag. He's gonna pull the bottle out. He's gonna offer it to her. So he's gonna kind of put his hand out.
A moment later, she takes the bottle, thanks you, and then starts examining it, turning it over, looking within it. She does some weird things too. She starts to actually blow into it and whatnot, not like making music with an empty beer bottle, but like, sees what happens. She puts her ear to it and whatnot. And she,
See, and I can hear people in it, but they can't hear me.
She says, this is quite interesting. She goes, and you say this is part of the circus itself?
Well, I was told.
I didn't know that at the time.
She looks to Mars, her lover, and says to him out loud, she goes, there might be something here that we want to look at a little bit more closely. He says that it's not of his concern. Right now, what he's focused on mostly is, again, mission accomplishment. He goes, I need to make a report. And this is the first time that Verdic is hearing anything about mission, although he doesn't say what. He just says, we need to focus on our mission, and I need to make a report. And what? She asks if she can look at the bottle for a little bit longer, keep it, and Mars is very concerned. He goes, I want to know more about this relationship. Why do you feel you need to remain with her? And this is directed at Verdic.
I owe my
What
life
about the
to
bottle?
her several times over. There's no way that she goes anywhere that I don't go, and I will make any soul pay for putting someone between us. She's the only reason why I exist today, and therefore I owe her a debt of life.
And that's what Anna says. Is Anna's like, yeah.
Kind of true, yeah. Mhm.
I can't be serious when you
Mars says you realize that's violating everything that you were brought together to do.
How?
He says the things that we do are not for outsiders.
As a paladin of redemption, I would pose no threat to whatever machinations you have going here. My purpose is to serve and protect the one I owe a life debt to.
Ooh, I'll let you make a persuasion roll on that one.
Out of plot points. Let's hope this is better than the last one.
Yeah, well,
Depending. Hang on.
yeah, I was waiting for his roll to
but,
come.
yeah,
Right?
I got no clue.
Well, somebody hasn't been able to use their plot points in weeks, so they may want to come off some.
Right?
Yeah, but they also haven't
Well,
gone
I
up
actually
in
rolled a
weeks.
pretty decent one for a change.
Yeah, you did. 19. It is
I'll
19.
give him a couple plot points for it, though. Make
Yeah.
it a 21.
Okay. All right, we can do that.
21.
21. But you're losing your 42, the answer to everything. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
you know, it's okay.
Next thing you
I've
know,
still got
Half
2
our
golden
audience didn't
crits.
understand that.
I'm
doesn't
telling
understand plot points or
No,
They better
42.
understand Hitchhiker's
Oh,
Guide.
age. I get what you're saying. So at this point, Mars listens to you and mentally talks to Den and Blaze and says, you realize that he can know nothing about our organization.
That's how I've been trying to keep it.
And at this point, he doesn't.
He goes, technically, just like when you were placed on your first mission, you can encounter others all you want, but I feel it's reckless to be bringing him in here. Do not give him any information about myself or anybody else. Who you choose to hang with that you think will get you in and out of places is totally at your discretion. But you realize that who we answer to, who we talk to, there's a reason we keep things compartmentalized and unknown to anybody else. And I have to, as part of your handlers, or one of your handlers, I need to emphasize that to you. I don't hear him knowing anything yet, but I have my
I don't
concerns.
allow him to. Short of Anna possibly telling him, I don't think there will be, but I'm doing everything I can to reinforce that into her thick skull.
And so he actually asked Den and Blaze both directly, are you prepared to end him if he finds out?
100%. Not no
Oh
hesitation.
my. Good thing you can't hear this.
Right?
I hold up a 1 and I explain that means yes. And if he has any other questions he wants to ask concerning the mission, I can give him a yes or a no answer.
You're going to really try this, aren't you? Okay. Mars is a little confused. He goes, I'm taking it that you are trying to give me a workaround to ask you more questions that you don't want to speak out loud? Okay.
You need to get the witch to check out his head, man.
Dead, you could hear Mars as he begins to ask. He goes, so
I just start looking at Blaze.
with the Emperor, and you hear Mars stumbling a little bit because he starts off with like, why were you there? That's not yes or no. So he's like trying to find ways to ask yes or no questions, which of course this is a 3-way conversation, Den, so you can too.
Yeah,
And you can
I was
find
just
out.
thinking.
Yeah, it's like if you've got some yes or no questions. He goes, did it have anything to do with the military? Does he have secret plans? Will they affect other nations?
I'm trying
Of course, we're watching him doing this.
Does
Really.
it involve the
Verdic.
ship?
So
The one we're currently on, is that the question?
He just said, does it involve the ship?
I would say no.
And you hear him puzzling as he's trying to find the yes/no questions again. So
is
if he has a magic ship and they're not using that, does he instead have? Yeah, yeah.
So I asked him, are you referring
That's
to,
funny.
I asked him, are you referring to the one we're on?
He's like, no, I was referring to the one that Den of Wolves described.
Verdic's gonna lean over to Anna real quick and be like, "Is this normal?"
You know,
are you
Don't
being
do normal.
watched?
oh my God, that's the best. We don't do normal here. You know what I'm forgetting is this whole time I don't have the because I didn't put up a separate Twitch chat. I forgot that I gotta remember to keep that up there for everybody else. We don't do normal. Oh my god, that's too funny.
Wolfax, are you being monitored?
Oh, good question. I gotta like keep a tally because I'm gonna have to add some plot points here at the end.
By
of this.
the Emperor?
So, question: while this is happening, this conversation, Verdic has an extensive military background. Would this not be fishy to him at all? Like just making sure I'm not metaing it too hard. Like, would this
I
not
mean, I think that would
seeing the
seem
hand signals and everything. Is this not?
the fact that they've barely spoken out loud. I mean, I think seems when you say fishy, it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, magic's everywhere. It would definitely seem like they're using some form of magic,
Right.
but if they are, why then with the fingers and
Verdic
what do the
should
ones and the
know
twos
what would-
mean?
Verdic should know what's going on because I established a link so we could discuss at the circus what was going on with Anna.
Well, can you but can you maintain that and the other at the same time?
No, what I mean is you should know that I have the ability.
Oh yeah,
to
I was gonna say, wait a
telepathically
minute, that would have weird implications.
No,
so
that's why I meant you should understand that.
right.
After a while, probably
Then
assume that we're telepathically communicating. At
While
the
this
very
is
least.
happening, then I would like to close my eyes and use divine sense, just kind of mutter like a prayer to myself as an action, just to see if I could detect good and evil on this ship.
Okay, does divine sense require you to place your hands on the ground or do anything else? I don't think it's just a
Nope, it's
mutter.
just opening yourself up. As an action, you can detect good and evil until the end of your turn. You sense anything affected by the Hallow spell or know the location of any celestial fiend undead within 60 feet is not behind total cover.
Wow, beauty then. Okay, so detecting evil, detecting good.
I'm trying to see if I detect evil.
Well, I think you would get them all, don't you? Doesn't it happen
Yeah, I
automatically?
think it
Yeah, it doesn't say
detects
or, it just
whatever
says
and
and.
says
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was what I was thinking. You actually detect within 60 feet.
Mhm.
Oh, that is not behind total cover, so it's only going to be within this room.
Right.
And you get nothing back. No celestials, no fiends, no undead.
Okay.
Within this room. Yeah, because everybody is. I'm looking at all the players, making sure that I got that right. Yeah, none of you are celestial, undead, or fiend. In the other group,
I don't
we'd
get any
trigger
kind of
things.
crazy reading off of me now that I've been stuck into this bottle.
Slappy's apparently nowhere near.
Well, it's
Yeah,
for anyone
Slappy's
who's
not.
not behind covers, so there's a chance that. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Cool.
So Verdic's gonna open his eyes slowly again and just kind of stand back contentedly with his his hands at ease, still standing sure straight.
Okay. Brock, he's got another one for you, which is, does he also, the army, the samurai that were sent to war, does he have more? Does he have an army of them?
Why did you
Do you know what his plans are? Did you escape on your own?
That's a good one.
Is he going to be searching for you?
Restrictions. Do what?
Is he going to be searching for you? You see him puzzled. Yeah, he's really.
Yeah, I'm like, cause me too. Cause I'm like, if you're monitored, if he's monitoring you, but you escaped on your own,
In military speak, he's blown.
Oh, that's why.
will he follow you?
And you hear Mars speaking out loud in your mind too, Dan. And he goes, "I don't understand." He goes,
Me neither.
he escaped. How is it? And he asks, did you escape together as a group? And he's afraid of the group?
Mm.
Yeah,
You mean with us?
Yeah, he was.
No,
he was
we-
captured. Clearly, he just said he
Yep.
escaped. So, were you captured too? Yes, then, because you can speak.
I followed. When I snuck into the palace, they were all captured. And there was some kind of like living cloud attacking them. Upon which we made a hasty escape through the sewers down back to the Undercity. But he went to talk to the Emperor, said that he carried some favor. But I don't know what happened prior to that either.
So he has magical defenses as well,
Yes.
living clouds and
Yeah.
whatnot.
I would assume so.
Do you know when he plans his next attack?
I don't believe I was given as a character. I don't think I was given that information.
No. Yeah. He did not say exactly what. He gave you some triggers he talked about.
Oh wait.
But he doesn't give you an
How can I
exact.
do that?
Asking yes, no questions is hard
Yeah.
when you really want to mine some information.
Don't confirm.
Which is why I reiterate to him, this is why we need to find that goblin that was on that ship.
He says, I'm more concerned if he's coming looking. If you escaped and he's going to be searching you
also
out. Yeah.
Said he also said he's being monitored by the Emperor now. Because I asked if he was being monitored, he said yes, and I asked by the Emperor, and he said yes. So how did you escape, but you're still being monitored?
Just words.
Confused. Oh. He's
Words.
monitoring your words? He can hear us?
Mars's alarm over the communication.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's like I was like, he can hear us.
And he speaks out loud to the witch at that point so Anna and Verdic can hear, and he goes, we're being spied on right now. And she immediately responds with, she goes, I have the whole place warded. That shouldn't be possible. And whatnot.
Can
And
he hear us?
Can you check your wards?
No, you can't hear us. Oh, you're telling her.
Yeah, because she said the whole place was warded. So
she immediately starts, you see her walking to walls, and as she starts moving her hand, various things start to glow. She pulls out a wand from her side, and she holds an amulet that she pulls off of her ear like an earring at different points. And you see her moving around, and different things glow at different times, and she's checking all sorts of things.
Oh, hey,
And-
Sean, there was an addendum there. I'm sorry. I almost forgot. You had asked the question if she'd asked me if she could keep the bottle and study it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we moved quickly into another conversation, so I didn't get a chance to respond to that. I would not have been keen to let her keep it.
Yeah, I saw you doing that with your hands. You're like, I want it back, but unless you're going to do something in character.
Yeah, I'm going to tell her. I'll be like, I'm going to need to hold on to that for mine and Anna's safety's sake.
And she looks to Anna. She says, so this bottle, he keeps you in the bottle?
I don't keep her in the bottle.
yeah, no. We don't know how it happened really, but yes, I'm kind of stuck somehow tied to and get sucked into the bottle. And so, yeah, I'd kind of rather have it stay with him.
When the creature was coming out of the bottle, he made a comment that he was going to take over my spot in the world. He said something like, I'm going to be the one in the bottle. At that same time, she cast a spell, and somehow that caused her to go into the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. She goes, well, let me focus on the matter at hand right now, and make sure that we're all protected here, and I'll make sure that you get the bottle back.
Thank you.
She continues her work on all the wards. Marsh continues to question all of you, trying to find yes, no questions. If I think of some later, I'll toss them in. But he continues to try as much information as he can. It's while this is all going on that there's a crash on the deck. and the conversation is brought short, you know, because if the ship's
Because
under
Slappy
attack,
found the goblin.
Yeah.
you know,
I quickly move out to intercept whatever's going on.
you
On
find that the
the-
door is locked and does not open. You're the first one to it. You were near it, and the door is 100% locked. And the witch says, one moment, moves her hand, and the door unlocks for you.
Okay.
Immediately,
And
you're
then
able to burst out, take off out of there. And Verdic, you start to go, what?
I'm gonna start moving behind him. Before I do, I'm gonna turn to the witch and hold out my hand as like, quick, the bottle.
Blaze is heading as well.
She says, I haven't had a chance to examine it yet. And Blaze goes out after Den of Wolves. Anna, are you sticking or going?
I'm gonna start heading out
Okay.
Yeah, I was like,
because I want to know
I'll
what's
bring
going
it
on.
back to you, but for now, let me hold on to it.
Of course. And she hands over the bottle.
He's
So
gonna
you're the
take
last
it real
one in the
quickly,
room?
stuff it in his satchel, and he's gonna take off with Anna up the gangway.
So those three are already up. You get the bottle, you stuff it away, you're off after them. You come out on deck and you find that Griffin is there, and you actually see that the Kenku is shimmying up the main shaft and whatnot. And by the time you guys get to the top, he's jumping off of it, and he goes, "Oh, look at him! Isn't he? Look at him go through the air! Oh, me little bird friend!"
I just mentally relay to Mars that it's the stupid freaking birds.
Mars, who had followed you out, leaving the witch behind, replies inside your mind too, and he goes, "You got to get rid of that Kenku. You have to get rid of that Kenku."
Verdic's just gonna shake his head and be like, "Oh God."
Griffin seems ecstatic, and he's just like chirping up, "Oh, look at it. Go higher. Yeah, get that rope. There you go. Go off that." He goes, "Oh." He goes, "You be safe now." He goes, "I'm sure you'll do just fine." "No, you can go higher. Jump off the crow's nest." You know,
Mentally, because I thought of another question, I asked Blaze, is he being monitored by a person?
yeah, we can keep jumping back to these, so go ahead, Blaze.
I don't know how to answer that.
There you go. Open palm.
Is it magic?
But I do relay through the connection that if we do want to continue the question, we need to go back down where there's at least protection as much as possible. No one's privy to the conversations any
shut
further.
up.
Yeah.
Because I still don't know if I can be heard now.
And Sean,
Yeah.
I don't know how this works. Is there a way that I could? I don't know how familiars work. Can I communicate with Slappy in any kind of way unless he's in front of me?
You can.
In 100 feet, I think.
Yeah, I was about to say there's
Within
a
100
range. I
feet?
know that.
Can I sense Slappy nearby?
You can actually project yourself vision through familiars' eyes and stuff, but those
Okay.
are mostly for non. I don't know how to. Well, no, you can do it with the imp too. So yeah, you could.
I'm gonna attempt to see if I can sense him, if I feel him in my mind. I'm fumbling through it. I'm trying to learn as I go.
You can just look up find familiar, and you'll read everything that you need to know. It'll tell
Oh
you
no,
right
I just
there.
mean in character. I'm
Oh,
trying
okay.
to yeah, because Verdic wouldn't know it naturally, so he's just trying to figure it out as he goes. Can I sense him? Is he in range?
You cannot. No, he is nowhere near you at all.
He's gonna lean over to Anna and be like, you know,
You guys are
that
probably
puppet should have
gone.
been back a while ago.
Yeah, you guys are probably gone about a mile from the circus. Maybe half a mile, somewhere in that range. You know, it's through the dock, so.
Yeah, Verdic's gonna lean over to Anna and be like, he should have been back by now.
Depends on if he found that goblin.
Yeah, well, last time he was out, he almost set the circus on fire.
Yeah, well,
You think I should call him back?
Oh my god.
you think you can?
I can try.
I'm
I'm
not sure we want
attempting
him on
to-
this boat.
Well, I guess if he's not causing any immediate damage, we should wait until we are ready to depart.
Yeah, I wouldn't bring him on this ship if I were you. That's probably not wise.
We're probably just buying ourselves a little bit of time for his next disaster, but I guess you're right.
Blaze, you're standing there on deck when you notice something. This conversation is continuing, and as the Kenku is flying through the air, you notice at the foot of the mast is this orange cat that you call Rifle.
The cat's back.
And the cat is appearing to choke on a hairball at the moment. A moment later, the cat finishes puking up a hairball, but what ends up coming out is fire. It hits the deck, this hairball hits the deck, and bursts into flame. You guys don't really catch what the cat was doing because your focus was up above, but Blaze caught it, and a moment later, there's this fire starting on the deck, and the cat scurries away.
Knowing what was about to happen, I had already bolted for the closest container of water to douse the fire.
I don't know that much about sailing ships back then. I don't know that they carry just buckets of water around, but
Somebody was swabbing the deck.
there you go. I love it. There you go. So yeah, one of the people who was being forced to swab the deck grabs it and you put it out. You notice something else about the fire when you do. It doesn't immediately go out like regular fire. It like floats on the water for a moment. It like you have to pour the whole bucket before this little hairball goes out. And even then it seems to smoke and sizzle.
Would Anna and I be close enough to notice this little spectacle?
No, because you're all close enough too, but your eyes were up on the Kenku and the Griffin. The reason
okay.
Blaze notices
Not
because
bothering
it's his cat and he tends to look for it. He was the
Okay.
first one to notice it up in the rafters and stuff. So, everybody else is kind of focused upwards. He was like, "Oh, look, my cat. How'd you get here? Didn't I leave you in heaven?" Because he did. I thought.
It's a magic
Travels
cat.
on its own.
That's it. The cat came back the very next day.
Day.
The cat came back. That's it. Like the hat. The hat came back. So you guys notice that Blaze is appearing to want to start swabbing the deck with others or something while
Right.
Griffin and Robin, put on their aerial display. Pretty soon Robin lands on the deck and whatnot with a flip and a tumble. Messes up his landing a little bit and whatnot, but clearly he has gained some experience. And more importantly than that, some confidence to match. I mean, where he literally just did whatever Griffin said before. Now he seems to have a little bit more coercion other than just being pushed off of a ledge and being told to fly, which seemed to be Griffin's technique for teaching. It looks like somebody actually at the circus taught him now how to fall with style.
Right? Acrobatics.
There you go. At this point, Mars and the witch comes back up, lets you all know that the wards all appear to be in place. She's not sure why you would think they were down. And asks Mars, so what is the determination? He goes, I'll have to report in and find out what he goes, but I don't think you guys should even be above decks. If you're being looked for, he goes, and we came in on this ship, he goes, I don't want to hang out at this port. He goes, we're going to have to set sail. He goes, I suggest you leave with us.
Did he say that out loud?
Yeah.
And okay, Verdic's definitely cock his head, but not like. Obviously, he's just gonna and then kind of keep his nose.
Couldn't tell what you were saying. Your internet broke up and froze up.
Oh no! Can you all hear me now?
Yeah, you're clear
Yeah,
now.
Verdic's gonna look over at that sound of that sentence, and he's gonna look over at Anna and be like, "Do you all know this guy really well?"
I do my best to explain to him we're not being looked for, that I left under my own accord.
Using the mental link, he then says, you said you escaped.
You said I escaped.
And you said yes.
I'm not there anymore, am I?
There's a difference between escaping and leaving.
You
Escaping
asked if I was
implies you were
searched
being
for,
kept.
and I said no.
Yeah, after we asked about the escape, you said you weren't being searched for, which is why we were confused about that. So Mars tries to again mentally unravel this as best he can. Den, do you want to add anything to that?
So he let you walk away with all this info?
Yeah, it might be especially pertinent to Den because Den is like, you guys had to escape through a shithole, literally.
Oh wait, but I know he let you leave, but not the circus master. Oh, how can I word that to be beneficial?
And Mars is totally confused. What's this about a circus master?
She was with them when they were imprisoned and followed him to talk to the emperor, from what I understand. But apparently he came back and she didn't. Are you working for the emperor? Like, are you straight up?
Ooh.
Like,
Great question.
As hell right. Like,
that is a phenomenal freaking question.
See you like this.
Complicated.
Mars actually claps you on the back, Den of Wolves, and says, "This is dangerous. You can't have to." Again, all mentally. You guys see him clap, Den of Wolves on the back, but Mars is incredibly concerned. Starts shouting orders to the crew. Again, the witch comes up saying that everything was completed and that the wards are in place. But then when she hears that we're setting sail, she goes, "But I haven't even had a chance to visit some of the ports." She goes, "What's going on?" Talks to him privately and whatnot. She doesn't use a mental connection, so yours is fine. They finish their conversation. She comes back and, immediately she starts giving not orders, but some suggestions. She talks entirely different than Mars. Mars barks orders on a ship. People do what he says. Whereas she just kind of makes suggestions. Hey, would you mind doing this? Or could you do that for me and whatnot? Which is entirely different. If you remember, she was very, after you captured her and abducted her and brought her here, she was very indignant. Very strong, but over the time sailing from there to here, you've seen another side come forth. Now the crew in rapid time begins the preparations to set sail. Griffin asked something about, what about our pay? Come on. Didn't we went to heaven? Shouldn't we, even though we didn't do the show, shouldn't we get paid?
No. I think we have more pressing issues.
Griffin thinks that's a shite thing.
Griffin, quiet down and I'll buy you some alcohol at the next port.
Oh, well, I'm not sure I'm that easily bought, but I'll accept your offer. It would be, don't want to be inhospitable.
Verdic's gonna Riley lean over to Anna and go, "And this is who you've been traveling with all this time."
They have their purposes. Just like you did and still do.
By nightfall, the ship has set sail and you're moving away from the isle. Or is there any passing or closing things that you want with the ship and what's happening there?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Verdic's gonna ask, "Where are we going now?"
You go to the individual who's at the wheel of the ship and the young officer who's there at it when you ask where we're going says,
"Oh, no. I'm asking the group. I'm not asking the guy at the wheel. I'm asking the group that I'm, like, can anyone tell me where we're going now?"
Nope.
To our next spot.
Where the winds may take us.
That's a good one.
So I'm assuming this group has a little bit more purpose than just randomly following them with demons and strange creatures and coming out of crapshoots.
You come in for all the demons.
Get
After
ready.
that, other than that, I think we're good.
Griffin says, "Yeah, didn't fight any demons before you." He goes, "Most we did was we went to another city. It was great. You guys are lots of bars. It was a good time."
And I'll own that. But at the same time, in my interest of my friend here, obviously she trusts you all for a reason, but I'm having a hard time piecing all that together.
You do realize that's the definition of the pot calling the kettle black, right?
I've been pretty transparent and open and explanatory about my history with Anna and how I ended up coming with the bottle and why I ended up finding you all at the circus.
And
Yes,
you're
yes.
apparently trusting
Very
enough that
useful.
you believe people on their first story.
There's a difference between trusting somebody at their first story and knowing when to pick your fights.
And I've now been able to explain my side of it. You know, he spoke truth.
And I hate to bring it to you, but your logic isn't exactly the most common of senses.
You get a few more years under your belt and your head will start thinking differently. Trust me. Life
I'll
is
take your
not
word
black
at
and
it.
white.
I've been
There's a
taking your
lot of
word at
gray.
it so far. As we can see, no one has tried to kill anyone yet, so clearly we are all getting along for some level.
Good, good.
You guys try to
I
explain.
lean into Den of Wolves and I whisper, trust me, he will end up proving useful.
Sidebar, I would have thought me reviving all those people in the dungeon would have already done that.
If we're done with the 40 questions, Blaze is going to find a place to kind of relax and catch up on some rest.
Okay.
Grace is going to kind of crook his eyes as he watches Blaze just walk off silently.
As Blaze walks off, goes and finds the hammocks that they had previously used and left, and the ship sets sail once more. Again, going off into the night. You know, it has no problem sailing at night. The captain and the crew seem to know where they're going. Verdic, I don't know how many ships you've been on. This ship is not a large ship. This is more like a large schooner.
Okay.
This is
And it looks
probably a
dilapidated.
1960s yacht, if you will. Big, yeah, and it's got various crud all over it. It's not exactly handsome. The difference was when you were down inside the captain's cabin, as soon as you went below decks, it's spotless, it's clean, it's beautiful. But when you're up top, you're like, you know, like even the fact that the cat puked and vomited, you know, probably won't really diminish the deck too much here because it just doesn't look good on the outside. It doesn't look seaworthy, that's for sure.
So my character probably would. I mean, he's aged, he's seasoned. Should I make a roll for perception just to be like, are they intentionally leaving this thing looking unassuming for a purpose? Would that make sense?
It wouldn't be a roll. You could just decide that one on your own, how your character chooses to perceive it.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely would be like, it's interesting that
it's
so
100% contradictory.
Yep.
Because inside, beautiful, well cared for. Outside, looks like, wow, this thing barely made it into port. And now they're taking it out to sea. So, hey, last voyage, have at you. You know, type thing. And 100% contradictory, like I said. And in fact, now that as they set out to sea, you also notice that a little bit, again, the crew doesn't all wear the same uniforms or everything. They all seem to have these white-ish type shirts and whatnot, but they're not even of the same race. He's got mostly humans. They're still lamenting the loss of a gnome and a goblin. There is a halfling that is back with them. Not sure where, but it's been a Den of Wolves, Blaze, and Anna. You actually recognize Den would be the one to recognize him. Den chased after him. The halfling that jumped off the ship previously and got left behind is back on the ship now. It's been
that's good.
Yep. So how doesn't make sense, but it happened.
I want to recall Slappy because we're setting off to sea because that would be a thing I would do. Okay. I wouldn't just leave him behind completely.
Okay. And I believe from anywhere that you can cancel the spell. And again, you're not used to casting
so.
the spell, but to reappear.
I mean, the way I role played is that, Verdic would kind of close his eyes about almost as if he's praying, and then kind of he's trying to find a way to channel his energies and fold in and be like, it's time to get back to me.
So that night you attempt to do that with Slappy and whatnot, and you find out something interesting from Slappy. When you tell him to come back to you, in your mind, you hear his voice as if faintly, which is actually kind of nice. I mean, the way he's been yelling and at the front before, and it reminds you of when you had first heard his voice in the mind. Shortly after you had been given his ability to help you and whatnot, the first few times that he talked, it was very distant. And then it slowly grew louder and louder as you were more familiar with him and used him. And in this case, it's very distant again, almost like his connection with you is more difficult and has to be built up again. Hey, maybe that's a great thing. You're not sure. But it's like a shouting from somebody half a football field away and there's a wind up where you're just really, it's tough to hear him and discern what the heck he's saying.
Okay.
A couple of high points, there's laughter, that's about it. As the ship sets sail, Anna, the Mars would like to talk to you on your own at one point.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, Mars and
I
the
love
witch.
her. I'm like, we're on the boat. I'm not going very far.
Verdic's gonna kind of be almost like, and he's just gonna kind of
You'll be
lean back.
okay.
He's gonna lean back against the bow and like wrap an arm on one of the riggings and just kind of watch her walk away.
The Kenku, as he does this, you see about 10 feet behind him, Robin is actually imitating Verdic, doing the exact same thing, almost like miming him and whatnot behind his back.
Oh, Kenkus.
Griffin, on the other hand, has gone to the sky and is sailing up high. Not a problem. He'll be in the night.
Then if we'll spot a walkabout.
Oh, walkabout time. Bye, Blaze.
And you owe him his plot points yet.
That's 8
Says
total.
he gets 4 plot. Yeah, so
Yep.
8 now.
Yeah. Well, I've just been keeping a little tally here, so I'll update everybody's plot points since we're asking for those right now.
While
Good, because while he's on walkabout, before I do my conversation, I gotta use the restroom.
multiple restroom.
Okay,
breaks.
everybody go multiple restroom break. Everybody go do your restroom break while I do this.
Be right back.
Eric, you don't get any plot points because you weren't here. Mike. Russ. I think that's everybody. I think. Oh, look at you. You're already back. They all went on a potty break. They were like, So you're quick and they're busy. You know, we might keep that because that's kind of a neat way to force a potty break. It's like, oh, look, you have to get up, but everybody else will run for the bathroom. That might work out really well.
I was gonna say I only got to do this for a week or two.
They're going to be like, no, we're keeping
Much
it.
better.
You got to keep doing it. we like making him get up.
Alrighty.
Good enough.
Now
we
I'm ready to have my
Well,
conversation.
Wolves, don't you wish real life was that way? It's like, hey, look, yeah, we're just going to all take a potty break now. I think we did that in kindergarten, and somewhere we lost that along the way. He pulls you into the room and wants to know more about this verdict. It's clear Mars doesn't trust the individual. The witch does not appear to be present.
Well, I have no problem explaining the background of training him to be a ranger, and then when we left, parted ways, that apparently he ended up becoming a paladin at some point. And just I don't mind sharing our history, because why not? There's nothing secretive about that history. It was all before I joined in with our group here, and did all of that kind of stuff. And you got to remember, I'm a half elf. I live a long life, and I'm a bit older than most of you. I had a life before all of this.
He wants his specific concern is how he hovers over you.
Well, that's only because he feels that, it's the life debt thing. I'm like, he wants to be able to repay the life debt. And so that's his way of doing it. And right now with the bottle connection thing, we're not sure how that's working, so he's a little nervous about that too. But again, I'm like, I think he definitely needs to be kind of nearby because of the bottle thing, but he'll start getting more comfortable with it. I'm sure it'll be okay.
He says, but you're out of the bottle now. What's the whole point? Why are we worried about this?
Well, from what I could piece together, I don't think I'm out permanently yet. I mean, if I am, great, yay, but I don't think I am. I'm not sure this is magic beyond what I know.
He says, well, my wife, he does not refer to her as his wife.
My lover.
My love, there you go. My love had wanted to look at the bottle, but he still has not returned it back.
Well, now that we're at sea and she can't go anywhere, I'm sure he'll give her a chance.
He says, have you considered that he might have his own plans with how possessive he is of you? He goes, you were literally built and designed as a team from different backgrounds to be able to get into different areas alone. How do you see that working with somebody who's hovering over you?
Oh, like I said, he'll end up fitting in. Don't worry about it. It's so new right now. He is just so nervous, and the life debt. He's just very nervous. I mean, he may be a little bit older, but he's still a kid. Oh my goodness, you're all kids. You got to get used to life, guys. We're not as fragile as y'all think.
Says the individual who communicates to all of us wants to speak with your group later, but I happen to know for a fact that they have reservations about you and the effectiveness of the team. Now, you were designed as a cadre, 4 individuals to work together. And now you have a 5th individual who, again, at different times you may bring in anybody, but this one particularly, just like I don't like the Kenku being along. He was this human paladin. I think you might be hindering yourselves.
Only time can tell that kind of thing.
I want to have you all in here tomorrow night. He goes, we'll do a dinner. He goes, after the dinner, you all might want to gather together, you, Griffin, Blaze, and Den of Wolves, to receive your next orders and make your own report. I've passed on what was necessary. He goes, but I'm told that the sending stones will work if you activate them together.
Yep, that sounds like probably a good idea then.
Let the others know.
Oh, of course.
With that, he answers any questions that you have and whatnot before breaking up the meeting. Did you have anything for him?
Mostly, my only question would be, because like I said, I could hear stuff in the bottle, so I have some bits and pieces there. But I'm more worried about Blaze right now because the parts that I could picture and see these, his fingers, I'm like, of course, there's only one and two, but I'm thinking, what on earth? I mean, he was up in heaven without everybody, and I think something happened to him. And again, I don't know enough magic.
Got probed.
But maybe your love knows.
You might want to have a private meeting with her when you talk about needing more magic. She's one of the most powerful witches that I have ever known. And while I would never discuss her age, she has more wisdom than you might give her credit for.
Sadly, we had to leave the healer behind at the circus. You want to talk about some wisdom?
The healer? What are you talking about? She had
wisdom. Oh, they had this elf healer at the circus. Oh, she was amazing.
She didn't try to turn you into those undead, one of their ancients, did they?
No. She's sworn off magic.
Oh, an elf. Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's rare, but it happens.
And here I thought they loved their magic for turning the living into the undead and the never dying and preserving the ancients. And, I've even heard rumors of where they wear their bodies as part of themselves. Literally grafting it onto themselves. He says, elves are alien.
It all depends on where you're from. There's lots of different kinds of elves.
Says the ones that I've met have all acted in a very different fashion. It was even yourself referring to us as children. There's a certain distance there. Perhaps it's just perspective. He invites you to connect with his wife later, or I keep saying that over and over. I apologize. With his love later. His paramour. There you go. Is there any questions? Do you want to do that, or do you want to?
I'm definitely connecting with her because I want to talk about the bottle and about all sorts of things with her.
Are you doing that before the meeting when she suggested getting together for your stones to receive orders?
Oh yes. Okay. Yes. If the opportunity presents itself, definitely.
Okay. So that night, again, he's already said, let's get together, let's do this whole thing, this dinner and whatnot.
Yes.
So that night, I did
let the guys know about that.
Okay. Yeah, you go out, you let the guys know that tomorrow night you're supposed to all have a dinner and whatnot. Then you go and you find his wife and whatnot. She actually you found her, she was actually going to Verdic to look at the bottle if she can.
There we
go. Can she
Perfect.
Use the bottle?
So Verdic's going to look at Anna just to looking for approval.
Oh, yes. I have questions. We need her.
I'm also going to say, if you're wise with such things and he's going to place it in your hand, and before he lets go, he's going to go, there's also the matter of the imp, the creature. I need to understand how to control it.
She says, well, where is it?
I tried to call it back on my own, but Paladin abilities are different. They're not like a mage's. I don't think it worked whenever I tried. I'm not sure how to exactly get him back. But he did say that he was bound to me.
Speaking of being bound to things, there's this cute little snowy owl bear thing in there. I was playing with it.
Interesting.
I wonder
Something
if it
else
can come
living
out.
inside.
Yeah, you think it can come out too?
She says, let me go and look at this. Yes, she was. And then she invites Anna Valerious to come with her to discuss some of the matters and whatnot.
First just left on the deck again.
Yeah. Oh, that's it.
His face is, he's clearly absorbing that he is not welcome.
There's a cot next to Blaze if you want to catch some Z's.
Right? There you go.
He's going to look over at Blaze and, yeah, I guess I'll take that rest. Might as well. We'll do that.
Good idea.
It's gonna be hard
I
for him to
rested
fall
in the
asleep,
bottle.
but he's gonna try.
She takes you into the cabin on your own. She wants to have private conversations with you, one woman to another and whatnot. Everything about same as before. Do you want to sleep separate from the others and whatnot? You're one woman on the ship. There's only one other female member of the ship other than herself who happens to be part of the crew, and that woman actually does sleep there. They just have a separate area for her and whatnot. But it's right there inside the main area anyways, where they all hot rack at different times. Examining the bottle. No, you're good.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
yeah.
She examines the bottle. You see her quite a bit as she talks with you. She's doing different things. She actually tries putting liquids in it. Some of the interesting things she finds out is you can't fill it with liquid. You can't put anything through the top. She goes, I had wondered when I tried blowing into it and whatnot. Interestingly enough, the stopper, which was previously told to be sealed, does come in and out and whatnot. She's like, I can move it, I can blow into it, I can do all this. She tries numerous various magics that she has. The rituals actually go on for quite a few hours that night as she's exploring different things with it. It's while she's still examining it that a call comes up on deck. Verdic, you're still on deck enjoying the night. Blaze and Den of Wolves have already kind of gone below to just kind of relax for the evening and go to sleep. And this is early in the morning. Why the Paladin chose to stay up is up to the Paladin. But he's on deck when the call from up top comes that there is something off the port side. Now, the sea's gotten choppier again. This is hours and hours later. You guys have gone quite a bit.
Pirate Roberts.
But there's an alert call. You happen to notice, Verdic, that the reason the alert call came is because Griffin landed on one of the upper decks and appears to have talked to the people in the crow's nest. And now he lands on the deck near you and squawks at you saying that, where are the others?
So Verdic was kind of half asleep, still having his arm wired in the rigging, and he's going to kind of startle awake and be like, I'm assuming they're below decks. What's going on up there?
He goes, the remains of another ship. I think there's people and survivors. Some of the crew are now coming up with lights and whatnot. A bell has gone off that they've been ringing, ding, 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 to summon other individuals forward.
Shit.
You guys hear all this? Individuals start coming up on deck. Captain gets a spyglass, whatnot. Anna, you can be there if you want to have gone up too.
Well, if she goes up, I go up.
No, she's staying down there. She's working. She goes,
Oh,
whatever the captain's doing.
Yeah,
Captain's
no,
doing.
I'll
She goes, Verdict's too possessive of the bottle. I need to take what time I can before he wants it.
I'll stay
back
with her.
him again.
It's okay.
Okay. They quickly up on deck start discerning. Again, many of them, you just have lanterns. They have a couple bullseye lanterns that go out a little bit of distance. The captain has one that when he opens the shutters on it, shines out for almost 150 feet. It's pretty far for, this little light. It's blindingly light. You saw him pour something to the top of it before he used it. But clearly whatever he added, just boom, light. And now you see what Griffin had seen with his eyes as he flew. There are bits of remains in the water. It appears to be boat. And Griffin talks about that he saw some bodies, and sure enough, yeah, there's some bodies in the water floating too. Some of the men try hooking some of them, pulling them up, and you realize that many of these bodies have the remains of wounds upon them. At one point, one of the things they hook up, though, is a massive arm. And when I say massive, it appears that the hand and the arm are about 6 feet long. And it's not a full arm up to the shoulder. It's just the forearm from the elbow down. And it's about 6 feet long. The hand, easily the size of the chest.
So, military background across campaigns throughout Eberron. Do I need to roll? Would I have knowledge of? Is there a possibility I might know what that is?
The only thing that you would know is the ancient rumors about giants who lived elsewhere. You've never seen anything in your military experience in all of Corvair like this.
He's gonna look at that and be like, "Holy shit! Looks like a fairy tale."
Yeah, you've seen large monsters, but usually they're one of the monstrous races. Gigantic things, other stuff. But this, like to get a hand this big, and as you look at it, because you're choosing to with your background and your military experience, you're looking at the hand and the fingers appear wrong, and you're looking at it and you're holding your hand up and you're like, it looks like a child's hand. So the fingers are still stubby compared to the palm and whatnot. At first you're like, maybe it's just puffy and bloated, but no, it appears to be a child's hand. They're able to bring in a couple other bodies of individuals, normal humans and whatnot. It appears that many of them have been attacked, wounded, cut open. Many have been floating in the sea for a long time, so fish have already started to chew at them.
So no survivors. There's nothing. All of this looks like it's been a while.
Well, again, they've just started bringing everything in. It takes about an hour or two that they're searching. Let me see whether or not they actually find the one or not. Oh, we'll give you a chance. And they do have Griffin's help. And no, at the end of the night, it appears that what you've come across is they believe, an old battle. They can't explain the arm at all, although the sailors pretty much figure that it's giants that live under the sea that have brought down a ship for sailing above it. And, of course, then there's talk about whether our small ship could survive, because some of the timbers that were left floating appear to have been not just, heavier things like masts, but some main support beams, which normally would not float. They would go directly to the bottom, but it appears to be magical. And because it is, they actually bring it on board and strap it down on the deck, because magical things can be resold, is their thought process. But they talk about, and you can see where things were drilled into it, and they're like, if this was built as a keel and it already had buoyancy, they're like, it had to be an oversized ship to begin with. They're like, so clearly something huge and magical. And of course, they're all like, sea giants have brought this down. Pretty soon the rumors start coming down. There's some knocks on the door, Anna, to you and the witch, asking her to look at it. She prefers to put off till morning looking at this thing. In the meantime, did any of you want to come down and engage Anna? Anna, did you want to engage them? Is there anything you want to do with the ship? Do you want to check out the water? I don't want to leave the encounter without somebody saying, hey, look, I wanted to do something.
Fine. Oh, go ahead. I'm going to let everybody else go first.
Yeah, I'm okay with. I'm staying where I am, because I don't want to leave the bottle.
Yeah, I'm just on guard now. It's clearly our ship was taken down in the area, so I want to make sure ours doesn't. So I'm just monitoring and like checking under us, since they say these sea giants live under the water. I'm trying to like peek over the edge. I can't see anything, but I'm trying to just be extra vigilant right now.
Brock, is there anything that you want Blaze to be doing?
No, Blaze is going to stay on his cot sleeping.
Okay.
Oh, he didn't come up. Okay. All right.
Blaze is like, people drown. It's all good.
They need me
He
their
works for
heart.
the Emperor now. He doesn't need to worry about what happens to us.
So
He's got a buddy.
Yeah, I think Verdic's gonna go to the captain and ask if he's seen something like this before.
The arm? Never.
Is this common?
I've seen boats taken down. He goes, we're sailing through the Lazar Pirate waters. He goes, absolutely. He goes, Lazar pirates control most of the north here. He goes, ships make runs north to the ice things. He goes, rumors of giants there, old civilizations and whatnot. He goes, but no. He goes, they're all rumors. He goes, this is more than a rumor. He goes, how can one deny? He goes, it's the size of me. He goes, how can you deny perhaps some mutant? He goes, something like that. He goes, but
should we be concerned about maintaining the same course?
He goes, where I'm going, he goes, there is no other way. He goes, I have no choice about where I'm going. He goes, the ship will get there. He goes, this little ship always has.
So, do we have a way of checking out the water, perhaps? Is there any way we can go underwater and see if there's any danger?
He looks to you and he says, I carry no such water magics. He goes, and I haven't seen a Ganassi for hire, and he goes, forever. He goes, they're high demand. He goes, those with the water magic, he goes, we run very simply here. And you can make an, insight roll.
All right. Yes, insight roll I shall do.
You get the feeling that he's being guarded and purposely not answering some of your questions, possibly not giving you as much. It's not a matter of being untruthful so much as not just sharing everything that he has. So he's definitely holding back from you somewhat.
Well, Captain, I assume you know what you're doing. I'm an army man. Navy's not really my forte, but if there's anything I can do to assist, let me know.
He gives you a formal that he appreciates it. And asks you to check on the others. Check on Den of Wolves, if you would. Make sure that he's well. Check on Blaze. But you get that, well, your insight roll is high enough that you get the idea that mostly he's trying to avoid more questions from you. Just, not wanting to have to say, I'm not answering that. He's getting rid of you. Go do some skillery work. Go check on your friends.
Yep. I guess we'll saunter over to Den. Let's kind of walk up, kind of with that posture, and look over at Den and be like, you all usually pass through seas that have crazy battle shipwrecks and bloated corpses everywhere, or is this just another Wednesday?
I mean, I've never seen anything like this, but I presume there's lots of places in the ocean that have wrecked ships and people who stumble upon them.
You don't say much, but when you do, you're pretty straightforward. I want you to know I appreciate your candor for whatever it's worth.
I appreciate you watching over Anna for whatever happened.
We Paladins have what we call an oath that we swear. And mine was for redemption. It was for when we were younger, or at least in my mind, younger. She seems to perceive time differently than I do. And even then, that was my oath. I was to redeem myself in service to her. I thought staying away from her would fulfill that oath, but clearly that didn't work. I hope that somehow I could be of use to the group as a whole. But I want you to know that we take our oaths deathly serious.
Good. I'm glad to hear that you want to redeem yourself by maybe staying away and or helping her. So as long as you provide some helpfulness, I don't see a problem with you sticking around for a bit.
I think you'll find that a paladin in their oath commands a loyalty that's unparalleled by any other standard. And he just kind of gives him a little nod and turns around and walks away.
I don't know which one's worse anymore.
Poor Den of Wolves, a cat trapped at sea with a bunch of individuals, and he's like, wow. He goes, I trained on land. I trained for something different than this. Then the rest of the night progresses uneventfully. And in fact, the days start to blend together. The ship actually was quite well stocked. With the witch's help, the meals are well prepared. The next night, when the meal happens, at the end of the meal, the witch asks Verdic if you would, let's go examine the bottle together. I can talk to you a little bit about the familiar.
Yes, you should go do that.
She already knows that he's going to look to her for permission.
Oh, my.
Don't worry, your mom said it's okay. You can go.
That's my charge, man. That's my charge.
Yes.
So he's
He's
gonna.
older, wiser, but you know.
The roles have been reversed now.
Oh my.
So he's gonna. The DM's reaction actually throws me completely off now.
It's beautiful.
So
It's
he's gonna
beautiful.
stand up and he's just gonna nod and he's gonna walk off, follow the witch.
She takes you off to a private room. When she does, as soon as Verdic is gone, the captain looks to all of you and he says, the room is yours. And he gets up and excuses himself so that you, Griffin, and the four of you together are alone. Do you know what you're supposed to do?
Yeah, I pulled
Got our
out the
sending
stone.
stones.
There you go.
Shit, he pulls up.
Moment later, you have them together. Oh, sorry, Blaze. Go ahead. Nope. Hold on.
I
We're
was
holding
gonna
off.
say, I think Blaze left his back in heaven.
Did you?
I'm teasing.
What?
I was like, wow.
It's intentional betrayal because he's working for the Emperor.
I'm just teasing.
Oh,
We can do that.
no.
Suddenly everybody's like,
Put them together. Let's see what we got next.
you put them together and quickly the voice connects with you. Some of the questions are the same as previously. Some of the questions actually directly touch upon Blaze and asking questions about what happened up there. So now all of you are hearing the reports together, because if you remember last time it said, I want your individual reports, and you ended up learning from one another some of the specific angles and whatnot.
Mhm.
Blaze, how do you choose to answer when he... Yeah, when
I'm
he
going to ask Din to interpret for me, and when he asks questions, I'm going to be.
I tell him that for whatever reason, he seems to not be able to verbally communicate what happened, because that's all I can gather at this point.
Yeah.
What happened there, but he can kind of gesture to answer kind of yes or no or something of that sort. And I also tell him that I can tell them what we've gathered so far from him to ease the time.
He says, originally, I was going to send you in search of some of the technology that we thought might help our own ability to watch others. He was now knowing that Blaze is being watched, that he is, shall we say, taken up, knowing that everything Den of Wolves has told us about the ships that could float in the sky that looks like a living entity. I can no longer send you to the hills and the cliffs all the way to the west. At this point, you see Griffin somewhat collapse and actually complain a little bit.
Aw.
And he says, but my people, he goes, I was told about another family like myself. And he goes, this isn't about you. He goes, this is about you fulfilling an expectation to a greater good before any one nation starts the war going again. He goes, and clearly, if this upstart emperor north of the Eldine Reaches thinks that he can do something, whether it's on the edge of the Demon Waste or elsewhere, we need to resolve this now. We need to come up with a counterforce. I am going to have you pull together some elements from the previous war that have been lost. I'm going to be sending you into the Mournland. Are you prepared?
Always.
Yes.
Hey, you know, wherever we got to go.
Griffin complains, actually. He goes, there won't be any taverns in there. He goes, it's a dead land. And he goes, precisely. Drink what you want in advance. He goes, you'll be going back and forth, and we'll have people picking you up what you bring out. He goes, you seem to have accomplished two things. You got the information. You made it out alive. Plus, I'm hopeful that going in there might allow Blaze to have certain protections from whatever is watching him. Or whomever.
Agreed.
He goes, we don't know enough about the magic there yet. And so that is my hope that others won't either. You do notice that as the voice speaks, it has slowly transitioned from a male voice to a female voice, almost like sliding on a spectrum. Until at the end you find that with the accent and everything else, it's just a female talking to you.
That's a pretty cool disguise technique.
The individual gets finished and asks what happened to the individual that was posing as a human. It's something that Mars never asked about because you didn't bring it up. But you had mentioned previously that you had caught this individual, because remember you were there at the circus, then you went back to the boat, and then they sent you, hey, look, we want you to get up there, and you're like, we already made the inroads with the circus. So,
Blaze, can you talk about that?
Explain to him that the emperor, that was one of the emperor's nobles.
So the emperor's nobles appear like humans, but are actually constructs underneath?
That one was.
Are there others?
Possibly. We only saw the one.
The
individual makes
Emperor's definitely playing around with something.
The individual says that it's a pity that you don't have an artificer amongst you. Nevertheless, we shall endeavor to find what we may as we send you out. Do you have any questions for them? Them, it, he, she, whatever.
As the voice starts sliding back the other way.
Yes, no?
I don't think so.
No.
Okay. The conversation continues for a little bit as he asks each of you specific questions, but eventually it closes easily. And again, this is the night of the second day.
Yes.
And whatnot. The ship has been moving along very well, very readily. Verdic, where they're going is actually, you find out from the captain, because Verdic had asked earlier, where are we going and whatnot, and he said, hey, we'll avoid those directions. But eventually it comes out, now that you've spoken with him, you know you're going to the Mournland, which is half a continent away to the east. So it makes sense when the ship is sailing on and on and on and on, because you're like, okay, we're using the wind, we're going, and weeks pass with Anna on the deck, and it appears that the spell must have been broken with the bottle. The woman, without going to you each time, Verdic, she's got the bottle, you know where the bottle is. You can go and check on it and be like, yep, here's the bottle, I got it right here if you need to hold it. And
you did say her and I were going to have a conversation.
Correct. The conversation with her is actually going to start that night. She hears your concerns, wants to talk about Slappy, talks about the voice. The next night, she's trying some different things on you. She asks you to summon Slappy, if you will. The voice gets a little louder, but it appears almost like you can't do it. You're like, something's going on. Previously, you had been able to summon him easily whenever you wanted him. That doesn't appear to be working this time. Go ahead.
He does have a question.
Yeah.
Can I quiet him when he's in my head?
He's been so quiet, like I said, that you can almost barely hear him.
I'm just saying, like, when he gets loud, is there anything I could do if that comes back?
Oh, you're asking her?
Yes.
Yep. She goes, first we have to understand what it is and how to control him. So over these weeks that the ship is sailing, one of the things she starts to learn is about how Slappy's working this artifact. And she actually identifies to both you and Anna that it turns out, with your understanding that this was from the circus, that this is wicked old magic. This isn't like the Everbright lanterns or the bullseye lantern that the captain uses. This is ancient magic. And she goes, and it's been twisted. She goes, it's not serving the original function. Somebody has changed it. About a week or two in, Slappy's voice has gotten loud enough that you can understand him. And one of the things is Slappy starts laughing because, again, Slappy can read your thoughts almost all the time. That's how he annoys you and keeps you awake. Right. And so when you hear this, Slappy hears it inside of you. And you quickly discern by questioning him, and he's quite proud of the fact. He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, you wouldn't be trapped in there and not study the wisdom inside it and learn how to manipulate it as well. He goes, oftentimes being inside of something, it's much easier to manipulate it, just as I did. He thought he would make me his familiar, but I learned how to control it. I knew what I needed to do. And Slappy is
I
quite
have to
proud,
do some studying in there.
quite arrogant. And in fact, at one point, yeah, I don't know if she would. Yeah, I guess so.
I'm going
Anna's
to be
been
relaying
very-
everything he says to me when I'm with her, because basically she's like triaging the situation. So, she's the only person I've spoken to in the time that I've had the bottle that understands what's happening. So I'm definitely going to be relaying all that info.
And her continued study of it, calling both, since Verdic is open about it, with Anna. Anna had mentioned this animal that's in there, which actually helped her to understand life. She asks about food, is time passing, other things. Anna describes the fact that this is actually got many rooms inside it. It's interesting. She was able to walk through doors. There was kitchens. There was food. And she starts to understand it better. She goes, this is wizard. This is arcane magic. She goes, we all study from the many schools. She goes, but the way the flow has been put together into this is actually an active magic. She goes, oftentimes what we create is static magic, things that charge up like a battery, flow out, like filling a cup with water and pouring it out. She goes, this is a living magic. It's literally tapped into the other planes and grabbing from those areas around it. She goes, which is also why, she goes, and she talks about Verdic. She goes, have you ever tried to be separate from this before? Which, as we put in your history, you had actually at some point. And it finds its way back. She goes, this thing is tied both to Slappy as well as you and others. She goes, this thing is tapped into the world around it. She goes, and it's built to draw in. And she starts to discern after a couple weeks, and the seas have gotten really choppy. You guys have been like sailing along the north to the top and heading towards the ultimate peak going up north. And so it's been getting worse, sleeping, Blaze, Den of Wolves, getting really into it.
Sleeping Blaze.
Yeah, when you're trying to sleep, which I was thinking of Blaze, yeah. Yeah, you're not sleeping the whole time. And Den of Wolves, it's just gotten pretty bad. But you're able to, she figures out that the magic of this, which echoes something that you heard from Sumina, is not only about holding somebody, it's about creating familiars. It's about an almost longevity like the elves, where a soul that goes in can reemerge and take over a different body. So it's literally changing different things. Anna, when she did her magic, placed herself in the way and ended up getting trapped in. She goes, although I don't understand, there's something different. There's something that went wrong, because she shouldn't be able to come in and out this same way. The longer you're inside the bottle, it changes you. And then she has to ask, how long was Anna inside this previously? Because she wants to know if time is passing the same way for Anna inside. Anna wasn't really in it long enough, because there was only a couple day and a half, I would say, or whatever. It wasn't very long, a day and a half, for her to truly grasp whether time is passing at the same rate inside. Some of Slappy's comments, which are caustic, make it seem like it was forever, which isn't too helpful, but you get that there's a warning there. And you also discern that Slappy, when he went in, was a human. But the magic was fulfilling him as a puppet for this other individual. Slappy does not answer whether he was turned into a puppet on the inside or whatnot. He's just very arrogant about the entire thing. So he does not reveal that bit yet. At the end, though, what you do learn is that Anna's on a timeline. And here's the problem, she says. Slappy, who is summoned back to you, she goes, I think if we can split these things all apart, then nobody has to be sucked back into the bottle, which even Slappy is kind of keen on. But here's the problem. Slappy doesn't have a body. And she says, but you do. She goes, you have this puppet body. Slappy, of course, in your mind is angry. He says, I don't want that. But as the weeks have passed and Slappy's voice has gotten louder, she goes, he's drawn close enough now that you could probably summon him again physically, which is the whole idea. He's supposed to be a familiar to you that you could summon anytime that you wanted a familiar, at least probably once a day, if at least maybe once a week, something like that. She goes, but I'm not quite sure why when you sent him away and called him back that not all of him was there, but clearly the magic is getting stronger in you. If you try to summon him now, it should work for all intensive purposes.
We don't want him on the ship.
I want you to make both an insight and a perception roll in that order, please.
Me?
Yeah.
Yes, Anna.
Oh, her. Okay.
Yeah, because she's the one that said we don't want him on the ship.
Insight. There it is. And perception.
Perfect. Verdic. Are you willing to summon Slappy right now? I'll answer yours in a moment, Anna. I need to know his intents first.
I mean,
that
he
way
would look at the witch
he's not
and be
affected
like,
by the rolls.
because Anna said it out loud. I would look at the witch and be like, is that an advisable thing to do?
I just did advise you. I think you should summon him.
Okay.
All right, so I know his intents now. He's willing
Yeah.
to. Your insight's high enough to know that it seems like an odd request by her because some of the conversations earlier were already evil. And what you realize is she's actually making a motion with her fingers, like as if putting him in the bottle again. So you've now made the suggestion to Verdic out loud that probably it's not a wise thing to do, but your insight and your perception were both high enough to catch that. That might not be her direct motive, is just to let Slappy run loose on the ship. So do you want to, having that information, do you want to change what you want to say?
Oh, I tell him, like, well, we do have a magic person here. It might, we could give it a try.
No matter what happens, I'm going to have to learn to control this, or it might very well conquer all of us.
She explains she goes, normally when we do a familiar, when we summon one we've already had before, or a wizard's going to cast them, she goes, I have numerous familiars, and she actually summons at different times, like a cat, and then a little while later she shows you part of a witch ritual. You guys are away, and then she has you come back in a little bit, it's a couple hours, and she's like, yeah, you're on time, and she finishes summoning a new one. She goes, having familiars is something witches and wizards have done forever. She goes, yours is a different type of magic, but so she teaches you the elements about banishing yours. And again, she goes, I think this is the main focus. As long as you're holding the bottle, as long as it's in your possession, you should be able to summon him and banish him at will. She
So
goes,
channel my energies through the bottle.
very much so. She goes, as long as it's on your body, somewhere around you, it should work. Within proximity to you. She goes, you don't have to be holding it. She goes, but a summoning and a banishing, she goes, so you summon something for the first time, you banish it away from you. A callback is when you've just dismissed them back to their original plane, which I would imagine is what put Slappy back in the bottle in the first place. Now Slappy's starting to get agitated. She goes, no, inside your mind, you can hear him complaining. She can't hear that. So do you want to respond?
Or he's going
to
to just be like in his mind, he's going to be like, what's the matter? You afraid I might actually learn something that you have?
Ooh, make an intimidation roll for me, please.
Yeah.
Wow. For the first time, Slappy goes dead silent. It's the first time you've ever said something that pissed him off, and he didn't just come back with an immediate retort. And you
Bruce
realize
can, like, bite
you've
me
hit the
sometimes.
mark on the head. You really hit a mark. He doesn't want somebody else learning the magics that he's already talked about are inside the bottle and whatnot.
I'm going to relay that to Anna and the witch. I was like, I think I just hit a nerve. I told him he might be afraid of what I would learn.
As you do this, he remains silent, and she tells you, she goes, okay, part of the summoning ritual is this willingness to draw him from wherever he is to create an entity. Now, your entity is always created, and unlike a callback, though, you said his voice has been slowly getting louder. She goes, I need you to focus on the bottle. And she has numerous things that she's, been doing on her own, but she goes, I can't summon him forth. She goes, I've tried numerous times. I know he's got to be tied to this bottle. I can feel it. She goes, it's got to be you. I want you to make an Arcana roll. I know not your good one, but this is what it's going to take. Let's see if you can nail an Arcana roll to summon Slappy.
Nope.
Wonderful. You're like, Slappy, come forth. Slap, I command you. And she's encouraging you the whole time. She's like, you're the one in charge. You have to be the master of the familiar. You have to control the magics. And as you do it, you're like, Slappy, come forth. Slappy, come forth. And as you do, what ends up happening is you start to feel the bottle shake in your hands. And it's like your mind is like, almost like something's hanging onto your mind and trying to pull you into the bottle and whatnot. And what ends up happening is and you realize, Anna, you realize it actually. Verdic, you're focused. Right. Anna, you realize she's holding the stopper in her hand. She's got it kind of like masked on the side, like, kind of like tucked down near her side. And he's holding the bottle. And he's like, Slappy, I summon you forth. I summon you forth. I summon you forth. And as he starts moving his head, not even realizing it, towards the bottle a little bit. And as he does, suddenly you see out of his, almost like a second Verdic being pulled forth, only this Verdic looks like a massive puppet. And as it comes up into his head and out of him, it takes full puppet size, and it does come out. But as it does, Anna, you're realizing the reason it looks so big, and you only realize it too late, is because you too have been being sucked towards this bottle, and you end up going into the bottle, and Slappy is fully formed right next to him as he fails the Arcana check. The stopper whips out of the witch's hand and onto the top of the bottle. And Anna's inside the bottle, and Slappy's on the ship saying, you're never going to make me go back. Never, never, never. I know what you're trying to do, and it's not going to work. And he bolts out of the room and whatnot. And literally, as he hits the door, it's like he hit a wall. The door was open. And he opened it the rest of the way. It was open like 2 or 3 inches. Opened the rest of the way. And it's like he hits a wall, and the puppet goes skittering across the floor, back up against the wall. And you realize the wards that she's put in place connect even that. The ship rocking back and forth continues to throw him and her, but the bottle is firm in your hand. Go ahead, Verdic.
Verdic's gonna like worriedly look over at the witch and be like, is there any way to destroy him in a permanent fashion?
She goes, if he's connected to an artifact, artifacts are almost impossible to destroy. For the moment, Slappy appears stunned. He's not moving, not talking on the floor. She goes, that didn't destroy him. She goes, but to destroy him, you would have to destroy this artifact. And you would have to do it while Anna is outside of it. Because if you destroy the artifact while she's in it, she goes, you'll destroy everything. That world she's talking about, anything inside it. Yeah, Anna, you can actually hear all this going on.
Is there any way she can take my place if we can destroy that artifact?
She goes, the original way, from what Slappy said and from what this seems to be, is that it swaps places. Which is why Slappy was trying to get your body. That, a soul would be moved, not physical material. She goes, but now that she's tied to it, it appears that it's going to keep bringing her and her body back.
Yeah, no, my concern is that I understand curses. I understand demons. I understand true evil. I don't understand Arcana in the way that you do. But in similar circumstances, is there not a way for us to maybe trade places and eliminate him at the same time?
She looks at you and she says, may I see the bottle?
He hands it to her.
She goes, to emphasize my point, and she holds it up and looks at Anna. And she rotates the bottle upside down, and Anna's standing on the bottle upside down. So the whole world shifts around Anna, which is really disconcerting. But just like Anna described, her reality is the same. She goes, artifacts, unlike most others, she goes, when we imbue something with magic, it gains energy. When we imbue something with an artifact, it literally gets a piece of either Kyber or Sybaris or all of these things. She goes, it literally becomes part of the creation itself. As such, and while you're watching, she takes this long-stemmed bottle and she whips it against the floor. Full force, just whips it. And the bottle hits the floor, bounces like 6 feet in the air, hits the wall, and goes rattling across the floor. She goes, it's almost indestructible. She goes, I don't even know the beginnings of how. She goes,
but you said
although,
almost.
Correct. She goes, there are ways usually tied into how they were made in the first place. I'll need to find out from the circus how this came to be in the first place. She goes, but here's one of the realities. And she goes, sweetheart, she goes, you are already headed to a place that's been unmade. She goes, if anything could undo an artifact, it would be the energy that undid an entire nation in this land. Kyrie is no more. There is only the Mournland left. She goes, if something could undo that, certainly it would have to be able to undo an artifact.
Well, here's my concern. While I have respect for the magic that built this artifact, as long as that familiar is loose in it, it can't be controlled. If I can't control it, or if the longer this goes on, this cycle gets worse. This could be a danger that's a threat to the group or this entire ship. I have no idea where the damage begins and ends. If I can't get rid of him, what else can we do but find a way to destroy this artifact? Is there a way to stop this cycle outside of that?
She says, I'm not a wizard, honey. I'm a witch. We work with similar magics, but different principles. Some of the finest wizards were the artificers of House Cannith, which was based out of Kyrie, actually. She was the land you're going to, or the land that was. She goes, you need to find some of the wizard lore on this. She goes, I'll ask what created the circus, what did all this. I can search for some of that on my own. She goes, but truly, unless you get to some of the libraries, Argonesson has a great one, some of the wizard libraries, she goes, you're going to have to find a way around this. But in the meantime, and by now Slappy's actually stirring, getting up, laughing, and he goes over, and it almost appears like he's trying to do magic on the door. You see him moving his hands, going around and whatnot, and he's chanting something over there and clearly trying to get out. Go ahead, Verdic.
So I'm going to grasp the bottle and I'm going to put my hand out and I'm going to be like, I banish you.
You do the banishment once more. And Slappy, whose hands are working on the door, the head spins around and then the jaw, the wooden jaw, moves up and down and says, not that easy, Chucklebox. Hasn't even been a day. And with that, we'll end tonight's episode. Anna's sadly back in the bottle, and Slappy suddenly can't even be banished for the moment. So I don't know if we've gone from bad to worse or just things as they are. You haven't reached your destination yet, which means we'll be picking up next week on the ship, approaching it. The crew knows, not crew, the group, Den, Blaze, and Anna all know that they got their marching orders from the top in this individual that they report to, but usually through the handler. So it's not unusual for them to not have all the specifics yet of what they're looking for, because it's kind of like a duality and almost protected system where this individual in charge doesn't speak directly to them and give them things. He uses these handlers, and they know how to connect with various handlers in various places if they're in an area long enough. But they make their reports to that individual often directly so that the information can be more protected. So I had a great time tonight. I want to thank all our viewers. Wolf's Dad, thanks for partying along with us. I want to thank anybody else that tuned in. I know we had some of our main individuals here. For those that weren't here, thank you anyway for supporting us, for talking to us, for sending us messages, for being part of the Plot Points family. I was sad we didn't see any real spells go off, so we didn't see wild magic, but we did have Shade's NPC that he paid for last session with his plot points, and it made a presentation tonight via the goblin that Blaze directly went to. That was a NPC created by Shade specifically to help Blaze out in that episode. And as we can see with all things in the world, just like when Verdic met Gonic in the Underdark, things that are released into the world have a life of their own, a purpose of their own, an identity of their own. Whether we are able to impose ourselves, and as Brock's character wanted to do, snatch them up and impose our will, or whether we just get a bad roll and they get away, they will continue on their life. So that goblin may or may yet appear again. He's strictly a minor NPC as far as what was happening in that episode. However, just like we're all minor characters in the world's episode, we're major players in our own lives. So take that with you. There's hope. Whether his story interacts with yours, we have yet to see. Whether the giant hand interacts the story, we have yet to see. Whether Kyrie is in the story, well, that's going to be pretty much a guaranteed unless they can turn the ship around and go elsewhere. But you know what? I never put anything past our characters because they're the amazing ones in the story. Anna, Blaze, Verdic, and Den. Is there anything you want to say to everybody as we get ready to sign off for the night?
I love y'all.
Ah.
Yep. Really appreciate everybody coming in and tuning in and watching us play.
Also, since I feel like I was challenged, I'll be sinking the ship next episode. And Kyrie won't be available.
Here we go.
Challenge.
Take the spotlight away from me screwing things up for a while. That'd be great. I really appreciate that, actually. Can I give him plot points for that?
Oh my God, that's too funny. Brock, you have anything that you want to add?
Just thanks for showing up tonight, everybody. Hope you join us again next week.
Mm-hmm.
Bring some friends.
There you go.
All of the friends.
You know, we have a great time at our table, but whether your table is real at your house, a physical one, or whether you're playing online, make it the best story possible. We make some amazing memories. Not every session is going to be rick-rolling laughter and good times. Sometimes they're really climax. Sometimes you have to advance the story in other ways, like we did tonight, finding out about some of the mysteries, closing one chapter to open the next. But whatever stories you make, remember they're secondary to the relationships you're building. Build some amazing friendships at your table that last a lifetime. Have a great time at your table. Happy gaming, friends, and God bless. Bye from all of us at Plot Points.